Hope you guys are having a good day so far. It has been a rough one, that's for sure. Let me tell you. All right. Michael Garber, Hyperbeam, EverGrow Love, CWP, Miguel Crypto. Hey, I got your message and I replied. Hopefully you got the response. And Will, good to see you. Will Harkin. Adam H. Fox Lima Bravo. Hope the weather has been good down in your area of the world. Good flying weather. Good day flying. Is there such a thing as a bad day flying? I mean, I don't know, but I think what is it? You fly King Air or something, or a bunch of different planes. But yeah, good to see those pictures. Haven't seen one in a while. Kitty, good to see you, man. And Ed Hopkins, the Bard. How you doing, man? Man, oh man, what a week. It has been a whirlwind. And if you're here, I really, really appreciate it. It's, yeah, it's been something else. That's okay. We'll get through it together like we always do, right? So I'll give it, actually, it's 2 o'clock right now. And Jack of all trades, good to see you. Wilco House, how are you guys doing? Yeah, it's EGC Mike, good to see you too. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to, when you talk to people. Marius, good to see you too. If any of you guys want to come up and talk about the kind of just market in general or just whatever, just let me know. We'll bring you up. I reached out to Paul to see if he was going to be up, but he didn't respond, so he might be a little tied up today, I imagine, with everything that's going on. So, yeah. So this will be space number 42. So, welcome to you all. We're going to, of course, talk about EverGrow, Lucro, LunaSky, NFT Marketplace, Atlas Wallet, and the other future utilities, as well as crypto's news from the week, because, we got a lot of news. So, most of you guys I've seen or been here before, but Tim and C, good to see you. If you're new to the space, you know me as EverGrow Steve, and I, the rest of the GC fan, would give you all a really, really warm welcome. My apologies for my throat's a little raspy today. So, yeah, if EverGrow and Lucro are part of your investment strategy, you no doubt are aware that you're part of the best community in crypto, hands down. Yeah, I've never really seen, honestly, such a tight-knit community. I mean, I was kind of part of the SHIB army there for a bit, but they don't hold a candle, honestly, to you guys. You guys are amazing. We always look out for each other, take care of one another. They've got great mods, admins, Discord, Telegram, Facebook. And these guys work incredibly hard, behind the scenes, stuff that I just don't even see. But I just get little kind of hints of stuff that's going on there. I'm really super impressed with how hard everybody works just to take care of guys like you and the investor, and answer the questions, even though they've answered them probably 1,000 times before. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So yeah, so we'll start with a little bit of AL10. Good to see you too, man. And Ted as well. I'd like to start with some kind of general news that's going around in crypto this week. And of course, yeah, a little bit of a lot of relevant news for us, that's for sure, getting caught up in the whirlwind. So let's start with CoinDesk. This one by Ayon Ashraf and Elaine Baron. And this one was about Robinhood. Robinhood ends support for all tokens named in the SEC lawsuit as securities. The trading platform will end support for Cardano, Polygon, and Solana as of June 27th. So if you have crypto on that exchange of those, they will probably be liquidated at some point. Let me just go through the article here. Yeah, the public will end support for ADA, Matic, and Solana on June 27th. The 3 tokens were named as securities in the recent SEC lawsuit against Binance and Coinbase. Based on the latest review, we've decided to end support for those cryptocurrencies as of June 27th at 6:59 Eastern Time. No other coins are affected, and your crypto is still safe on Robinhood. Users are able to continue trading and transfer those 3 tokens on the app until the deadline. After support stops on June 27th, tokens left in a user's account will be automatically sold for market value. The decision comes as part of the company's regular review of cryptocurrencies, Robinhood said. However, those were the only tokens that were listed on the trading platform that were named as securities in the recent SEC lawsuit. After delisting, the platform will be offering trading for 15 different cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, ETH, Dogecoin, Avalanche, all of which were not included in the SEC lawsuit. Robinhood said during recent industry testimony in the U.S. House of Representatives that it tried to register as a special purpose broker for digital assets, but couldn't get the SEC to guide the trading platform into compliance, although the agency's staff seemed to want to help. When Chair Gensler in the SEC 2021 said, "Come in and register," we did, said Robinhood Markets chief compliance lawyer Dan Gallagher in his testimony. We went through a 16-month process with the SEC staff trying to register as a special purpose broker-dealer. And then when we were pretty much summarily told in March that that process was over and we would not see any fruits of our efforts, he added. This is just kind of my opinion, but it sounds like Robinhood was trying to act in good faith, but the SEC kind of closed the door on that process. To be fair, I see kind of two things here. One, Robinhood was trying to register, but based on the wording, it looked as if they were trying to get help from the SEC to guide them, which means that Robinhood legal team was either unfamiliar on how to do this process because it's so labyrinthian that not even the SEC staff were able to help. I truly believe that crypto will kind of endure no matter what legal obstacles are in place of it. It is going to be a painful journey, and yeah, it's kind of what we're in. But I would much rather see the SEC act in a more kind of guiding way rather than a punitive way, and cooperate rather than cooperate and then help them be into compliance. But hey, that's just me. Habibi, good to see you, man. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining. Taxi Man, Jordovic, good to see you too. Who else? We got Drake Fizz. Thanks for joining, man. And Brian. And let's see who else we got here. Miko and Ant Banks. Good to see you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay just fine. This other one, by all means, if you want to come up and talk about what we're talking about, you're more than welcome to come up. So the next one is another CoinDesk article, and that one says, can Binance survive the SEC charges? After news broke that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is suing Binance, the chief executives of the world's largest crypto, Xiaopeng Zhao, aka CZ, took to a familiar strategy, tweeting. CZ's first tweet communique was just number 4, posted around the same time the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, was likely cleaning up the first of several TV interviews. That might have been a head scratcher from some of us, but to many of CZ's 8 million followers, the tweet was a message, a joke, and an attempt to reassure what they've heard before. In his own words, 4 means ignore FUD, fake news, attacks, etc. FUD is obviously short of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Further, CZ's tweets indicates that the firm's strategy towards regulation was largely stay the same, even now that they're being sued by 2 of the top U.S. financial watchdog. And indeed, that has largely been the case in the days of this lawsuit since it was announced during the SEC also sued rival exchange Coinbase. Binance had stuck to its long-held points. The SEC is wrong for regulating by enforcement. Customer funds are always and have been safe. The exchange's previous attempt of coming into compliance were thwarted by uncooperative SEC. While we take the SEC's allegations seriously, they should not be the subject of the SEC enforcement action, let alone on an emergency basis. We intend to defend our platform vigorously, Binance said. It's kind of the same story, isn't it? That's at least what they're saying. So, I don't know. It kind of seems like when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The hammer being SEC. This other one was interesting by NPR, actually. I posted a link earlier today, and I'm going to see, actually, I'm going to try something a little different. I wanted to, actually, you know what? I'm going to try something real quick. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Did you guys hear anything? Maybe a thumbs up if you heard a little tone. Okay, you didn't hear that. All right, don't worry about it. Let's see, this will probably be in the... Oh, you heard it. Ed, you heard that little tone? All right, I'm going to try something I'm going to try to be a little creative here and see if this will work. All right. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Probably not. That's okay. Don't worry about it. So, Yeah, David Gura is an NPR reporter. So as the article starts, since Gary Gensler became Wall Street cop 2 years ago, his message to cryptocurrency companies has been consistent. He would do all it takes to tame a world he likens to the Wild West. This week, he delivered that big threat, big time. The Securities and Exchange Commission unveiled a barrage of charges against two of the world's largest crypto, Coinbase and Binance, kicking off a legal battle that will help define the future of cryptocurrency. I don't know if help is the right word. Here's what we know about the fight and why it's so important. What are these two cases about? They stand to answer a critical question. Who gets to police cryptocurrencies? Although Binance and Coinbase may not be household names to some, they are well known in the world of crypto. Billions of dollars worth of digital assets are traded hands on these platforms every day. They have customers all over the world. Yet crypto, since its beginning, has existed in a regulatory gray area. After all, most of the current finances rules were set before cryptocurrencies came into being. A turf war continues between the SEC and another federal regulator, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC for short, over which agency has the power to oversee these assets and the broader sector. Gensler believes that most cryptocurrencies are securities. I have yet to hear him say that, actually. I don't know where he's getting that from, but and such, the current laws give his agency the power to regulate them and the site and apps on which they are bought and sold. Although these lawsuits are different in ways, at their heart, Coinbase and Binance are both being accused of failing to register their exchanges with the SEC. That's something that cryptocurrencies have fought tooth and nail. By design, crypto is supposed to operate outside of traditional finance. What many crypto companies want are new rules of the road that are crypto specific. If the SEC prevails in courts, it could potentially force crypto companies to register with the SEC, which could be a sea change. I think these cases will be fundamental to the shape of crypto regulation, says Timothy Masad, who is the former chair of the CFTC. So what happens now? In many ways, this is an existential fight for these companies. Binance perhaps faces the most serious allegations, including that the exchange and its CEO, CZ, misled investors about the exchange's ability to detect market manipulation and misuse customer funds. I don't really know much detail about that. Misusing of funds. I kind of track like liquidity and the one-to-one and all that stuff. So if you guys are familiar with that, I'm not really too sure. My apologies, EverGrow Love. I didn't see your request there for a second. Rocket, good to see you. Denny as well. Hope you guys are having a good day. EverGrow Creator, good to see you too. And Zelda, how you doing, man? Love your designs. EverGrow Love, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Oh, hanging in there. It's been a week.
So yeah, I was just thinking about what you were talking about with these SEC things, and like I've been posting, government if they don't have their hands in it, at some point they're going to get in it, and then also if they do own crypto, which a huge portion of the politicians own crypto, they're the biggest market manipulators out there. I mean, what's the best way to drop fear, draw greed, raise the price, lower the price overall? Mass fear, go after the biggest finance or biggest ones out there. I mean, if they'd have gone after Bitcoin, well, that'd have been a little bit different, I think, because Bitcoin's perceived a little bit differently than Binance and some of these others. But I honestly believe that this is a tactic, and they want to talk about insider trading. I mean, your biggest insider traders are politicians, so you can't convince me of that any other way. But while we're here, I got probably the biggest news of this whole week. I had to point out that I did beat Rocket in a circle, and I was in the first ring and he was second. Very, very important that that's recognized, because that's like a milestone, and then to come up as a speaker before him too, double. I'm stoked now.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. That is the most important news of the week. I wonder if Rocket will I'll give Rocket the opportunity to respond to that. But
oh no.
Oh man, that's too funny. So what's your take on everything that's going on? What coins are, they're the ones that are taking the kick in the most right now. It seems like Bitcoin is, not down as much. Do you think it's kind of one of those like when everything gets kind of turned upside down that people go to safe harbor like gold and and things like that. Do you think people are just retreating to Bitcoin because they perceive it as the safer alternative in crypto?
I don't even think that's the case right now. I mean, there's been allegations and there's been things happening. I mean, look at FTX, look what happened to the market and stuff. I mean, there's been things happening for a while that I think a lot of your crypto community and people that own crypto right now are at the stage where, for the most part, they're going to ride it out and see what happens before they start moving funds. That's why you're not seeing huge dips right now. Yeah, you're seeing some downtrend. But you're also seeing some coins that are picking up uptrends, and we're going to be one of them here shortly. So I don't think it. They can't you can't view the crypto market as a traditional stock market. They have to. The stock market's manipulated in a different way at a higher level. When they start talking about interest rates, when they start talking about what companies are doing, it makes your CNN news a lot more, and people watch these finance channels, and it's really easy to cause fear and greed in a traditional market. As far as crypto goes, I think crypto people that invest are a little more resilient to that fear and greed. Yes, you have your new people that get in and they'll drop in a heartbeat as soon as they get scared, and they'll FOMO in when things are going through the roof, but for the most part, from what I've been able to see in my few years doing crypto, is that the crypto mindset is different, and they seem to have more patience.
Do you think that applies to people that are heavily into meme coins though? I mean, because it seems that's what well, I can't really say volatility is really can be a reason for a number of things, but do you think that FOMO mentality is really like kind of one of those where it's very very reactionary, right? Emotional, kind of like try to get in before before basically get in, make the money, get out, right? And so traditional stock, and I think, well, you can't judge them all together because even in stocks, people do flip all the time. They're day traders, right? They know what to flip and when to flip it. And so I don't know. You're probably right though. I think we have a little bit more iron stomach for for risk than others. I think I agree with you for sure.
Yeah, with our last huge dip we had a couple years back, I mean, the market went way down,
Hmm.
and everybody was like freaking out, and then look what happened. Turn around, Bitcoin, Bitcoin went up to what, 60,
Yeah,
60 plus, and then all of a sudden, we had a correction again. So I think the way the crypto market has worked has kind of strengthened us into our resolve, and brought on a level of patience that most people don't have with a traditional um, system, because your traditional system, usually your gains nothing near like you can do in crypto, and you got a lot more people willing to hold on for that extra year or two to actually see what they can do, because they've seen what can happen in a year or two. I mean, you can make millionaires in a year. So there's a lot of people that are a lot more willing to hold on, but your meme coins are a little bit different to me. Your meme coins are all, for the most part, those are all influence driven, and it just depends on when that huge chunk of money is getting in and out.
exactly. And a good day on the stock market is 20-30%, maybe 40 on one particular, but usually it's related to one company buys another, or earnings are a little higher than expected, but that's not the norm. It's usually a couple percent here and there. In
Yeah,
crypto you could be looking at, I mean, I don't know, a couple
several
100%.
hundred.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, but that's the same things that happen on, with the stock exchanges happen on the centralized exchanges. They're just kind of a different bag of tricks, right? Wash trading goes on with market makers on the stock market as easily as it does on centralized exchanges. They're in it for the same reason. I mean, Robinhood's a good example. They make money off of the actual trading. They don't get a monthly fee from you, right? So in order to generate revenue, they need to encourage buys and sells, right? So they, if this is not an accusation, I think this is just normal operating procedure. They will trade back and forth in order to give the appearance of volume and pump the price a little bit in order to get people in. And then we're all here looking outside, going, "Wow, what's going on with that?" And people do get suckered into it. It's just kind of how they do it. You know what I mean? That's how they're. That's
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but
if
that's always been that way. I mean, fear and greed has always driven the market. I mean, if you've ever, I mean, I'm sure if you've gotten into investment, you've looked into like what some of Warren Buffett's rules and things like that. And even he says, fear and greed, but you just got to know, from your buy point, you automatically set your stop loss and everything. But crypto is different.
it is,
You cannot use some of the same rules, but some of them you can. The fear and greed factor. I mean, fear and greed can, in crypto, it can explode or it can destroy real quick in crypto. Where in your traditional market, usually it takes a lot longer and it's trickled down over time.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. It's true. I was actually reading an article today about. Before I go into that, I'm just going to say hi to Marius. How you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. I haven't heard from you in a long time. Have you been? Have you been?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good.
You've been busy.
We're just way too busy. Like winter with two kids. Like almost one of them was sick and stuff.
Oh, really?
And then
better now?
Yeah.
Good.
And then EGC and everything. But yeah, it's I'm all right. I'm all right.
Good. So, what's your thoughts on everything that's happening?
I don't know, man. For me, it's like really weird, like this kind of situation, because like first thing that comes to my mind is you have like the three major countries that they hold investments and everything is like US, India, and then China. So you have somehow a regulation on the other two countries, and then US comes with this this decision and lawsuits and everything. I don't know if that's the way to initiate something, or somehow to fight it and get out like with something. I don't know, like it. But for me, like it's really weird to have the rest of the world doing something about it, and then you are trying to fight it. I mean, what's the reason behind that decision?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
understand, yeah, oh, money, and we need to control it and stuff like that, but I mean, over the years, you can see it cannot be stopped, because people always find different ways to trade or get some crypto and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, I found it like really surprising, for sec going that way, given on the history that they were trying, with these exchanges, they were trying to find a solution about it.
Yeah.
And then this, for me, like, yeah, it's a huge surprise.
It's interesting because, with the US, it's kind of been known as kind of this land of innovation, right? This land of opportunity and, and finding solutions to really tough problems. And, you would think crypto would fit just perfectly within that whole realm, right? But it looks like, Europe and the rest of the world is, except for, a few countries, it's much more receptive to cryptocurrency. And I find that a little unusual. It just even a lot of them are wanting to move to, like, believe it or not, France, because they're so much more crypto friendly.
Yeah, indeed. Like, okay, I won't comment about my country because nobody cares, but I mean, US, obviously we need to take into consideration the countries that US can affect with this decision. It's okay, it's regarding US SEC and everything, but I guess more and more countries, like, somehow they will follow like this decision just because US did it. and they follow somehow for the exact same reason you mentioned, like technology and everything, and the development, whatever. So there are countries that they blindly follow, I guess, these kind of decisions. So I hope the the effect won't be like a huge one, but time will tell. And I don't think like it ends here. Yeah, it's a huge market. It's affected. You can see like these drops are like obviously trading money that they're going out, like um and yes, slowly people will start to reassess and see what is going on and take their decisions.
What do you think, EverGrow Love?
Well, see, I look at it a little bit differently because, of course, I look at everything different. But if you think about it, you've got like the U.S. stock market, okay, and you've got all these companies that go out and they put out, they offer their stocks. They create an IPO. You can buy into their stocks, and you can gain a return. But that's all tracked, and you're taxed on your profits and everything. The government gets a cut. I think the U.S. government, is doing what they're doing more out of fear. Because I think they already understand the impact that crypto can have. Because if a company can all of a sudden just create a token, instead of you going and buying their stock, now you're buying their token, which gives them their value that they need in order to do what they want from marketing and everything else, and continue to run their business. That's a whole totally different approach. And now we've got less and less and less people actually buying into the stock market for traditional stocks. A lot of people are moving to crypto because they don't have to pay all the extra stuff. I mean, technically you're supposed to claim it and stuff, but I can guarantee you I'd be surprised if 50% of the people who invest in crypto actually report everything. I really would.
I kind of half expect.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think you can control it. It's like something similar that India did, like with the 30%. I don't know if it's lower now, but to somehow manage it, like let's say out of the profits, or I remember a lot of guys, doing their tax forms and stuff, and they were asking questions like how to declare and everything. So I guess there are ways to do it, but it's something that it's not that straightforward.
But the question on that is, was that voluntary, or was that because it's a government rule and they have a way to track it? If the government can't track it, and they can't figure out who earned what on anything else, and they can't get it back to a single person, which is the purpose of decentralized, right? If they can't track it, then for the most part, to me, most people do and file and claim because they feel that they should, because they feel like they're doing the right thing, or because they were scared they're going to get caught if they don't. But like I said, I would be extremely surprised, in the U.S. at least, if more than 50% of the people actually claimed. I really would.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. I mean, go ahead, CWP.
Oh, I just wanted to agree with that, and throw out something else. All of you who know me know that there's some things I have opinions on, in which I am not one bit humble. Um, I'm sure you all know. One of those is that the United States government is quaking in fear because, and I am convinced of this. And by the way, I've just been doing some research today on whether Gensler and the U.S. government are intent upon totally killing crypto. And that, in my opinion, is 100% their intention, for many reasons. One is what was just mentioned about trackability. The other one is the destruction of fiat. Um, Crypto is eventually going to do away with fiat throughout the world. I am also convinced, and that is a threat, direct threat to the dollar and the dominance of the dollar. We should, in my opinion, be the world's leader in crypto. That's what we did with the internet. And look at the internet today. We led that. If we were leading crypto, we could avoid some of the calamities that are going to befall losing the dollar as the world's reserve currency. But nobody seems to be thinking forward enough to realize that. Crypto, comparing crypto and the stock market, is extremely difficult, in my opinion, to do because crypto is new. The original stock transactions, I think, were 300 or 400 years ago. That market has been out there for a long time. There are speculators in stocks, and there are investors. Um, the same is true of crypto, except there are a lot more in speculators because all of those huge rewards that people got that are still out there and available if you can find them. I just did some a little interesting statistical thing. In the past 24 hours, 36 cryptocurrencies increased 100% or more in their value in just 24 hours. 9 of those 36 increased over 1,000%. The 3 top were 83,000 plus, 26,000 plus, and 19,000 plus increase. That those kind of numbers draw in gamblers, and we're seeing that. So I'm combining in my mind. I can make links that may or may not exist between all of these things. Um, American millionaires are supposedly a somewhat protected commodity, if you will. Not every, there's the American dream, but people don't get there in general without a whole lot of support from the system. This is outside of the system, and that scares people. So there's my 2 cents for what it's worth.
So I wanted to comment on the taxes part. So I'm very precautionary. I'm a low risk taker. So I'm one of those dummies that submit my taxes for crypto. And the reason why I do it is because I don't want down the road some regulations to come by, and now I got a bunch of back taxes that I got to pay up. So I'm ahead of the curve. If everything comes down where we got to start reporting crypto taxes and we have to go back to the beginning, I'm prepared. I've already done my part. Now, as far as the 26,000 percent increase, those are red flags to me. Those seem like money laundering type of projects, and those are the kinds of things that I stay way far away from, and that includes with the NFT projects. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, Bart. Appreciate it. Go ahead, EverGrow.
Yeah, he was talking about the taxes, and I just wanted to make the comment that hopefully by the time I got to file my taxes, I'm already a millionaire from EverGrow, so I won't have to worry about it. I'll just file against that.
Right.
Right on. You would think, being, a lot of these entrepreneurs, are pretty smart people. Why not get into this? Like, is there any reason why you couldn't have a Ford token or a GM token or a Toyota token? It could theoretically be pegged to the value of their stock, right? And then you're just capturing a different market. So go ahead. Yeah, chime in anytime you want, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, that's kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Instead of companies listing on the traditional market, they're going to start moving to crypto and list. But they could do both, like you were just saying. I mean, if they're already on the traditional market, they could also come out. I'm really surprised at Elon Musk if he hasn't. I mean, he might have a token, just not announced it. He might just be in the background somewhere, but I would be extremely surprised. I mean, why wouldn't Tesla be in the crypto? I mean, he's about crypto. He he owns some, he's involved in it. And being in his position, he could be a huge driver to moving if he shows that, hey, we're going to list in a traditional market, we're going to list Tesla, hey, we're going to list Tesla, we're going to bring out a Tesla token. Okay, if you bring out a Tesla token, you're going to see a huge increase in crypto because there's a lot of people that follow. I mean, if you do that with some of these major corporations, Apple, I'm surprised Apple hasn't done it, or a lot of these big, huge companies that are about technology. And once they start doing that, you're going to see a huge shift rather quickly.
Yeah, I think Amazon's going to be the first one out on that, and everybody's going to start following suit.
They're going to go where the money is.
Just imagine if they all started paying rewards or dividends on their crypto.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And not only that, but just imagine the impact if you had, 100 or 200 of your Fortune 500 companies all of a sudden come out with crypto right in the middle of a lawsuit. Oh man, that kind of put a hamper on their forward looking right there.
I don't think they will go the usual way, like of tokens and everything. Maybe they will take advantage of the blockchain technology somehow, because I think that's what is BMW doing with Binance currently. They announced this like months ago that they will do somehow like a program for rewarding whatever, and BMW will work with Binance chain. So it's I don't say it like as a tokens. They will launch tokens or whatever, but for sure they can take advantage of the technology and do some stuff if they want to.
So yeah, I can agree with you on that. Even if they don't open up their own crypto, to actually work with somebody that's dealing with crypto or a token so that they can offer it as a form of payment or something, I see that coming in too. There is another aspect to this that we haven't discussed, and so we were just discussing like Ford and GM and everybody, General Electric, whatever, Apple. Why haven't they done the crypto thing if they're in that? Well, we haven't thought that they might be the ones that are also helping to lobby to destroy crypto because they are on traditional markets.
It's possible. It is possible. I mean, I know some have dabbled into NFTs and all that stuff. I think Porsche royally screwed up on some of their NFTs or something like that. And I can't remember what auto dealer it was now, but they were trying to cash in on an opportunity and they just screwed it up. You know what I mean? So, but there's so much room for innovation within the market. I don't really see the only thing, I'm kind of with CWP a little bit on this, and I think that, it represents to them an existential threat, something they can't control, and they're probably worried about losing some form of market dominance. So the problem with most of those things, I read an article about, when all of these different things, when the government goes after, this is just historically, when the government tries to squash something, it usually doesn't end very well for them, because the people get tired of it and they just say, listen, what we're trying to do here is nothing really radical. I mean, the whole concept of crypto is kind of radical in the sense that decentralized, you know what I mean? I think they see that as well. Again, they can't control it. You can provide rules of the road. I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with that. As far as taxing, I think that's inevitable. But, again, with the nature of decentralized finance, unless you know somebody's wallet address and they're willing to divulge it, you're probably not going to know unless there's some sort of investigation, typically like fraud or something like that. And then they're going to get a hold of it. They're going to know what your wallet is and where you've been moving money and stuff. So I don't know. It's just, I think Gensler, in just general, I'm not too impressed with everything that he's been saying. I haven't really heard anything. I did hear that apparently, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but he tried to work for Binance at one point and they didn't really take him on the deal. And now they suspect he's trying to show how displeased he was with their decision. I don't know if that's true. I would hope that he wouldn't be that petty, but big egos, people do crazy things, right? So,
well, yeah, you got.
Unfortunately, it's 100% true, Steve.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was going to say you got to think. Rocket pointed out about the source and stuff, and But because I did make a tweet on that if this is true, it's going to be huge, because that's a fact. That's the thing that the government can't do, is go after somebody. That's more like retaliation right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they have a case for, especially if there's any communique that indicates, verbal or written, that indicates that he's got an agenda and I got to show those guys, then he could be in a lot of hot water and his days might be very, very short. So who knows? Like at the SEC, I mean.
Okay, well, you got some people. I just pointed out you got some people that are wanting to talk about EverGrow. I saw it in the comments and stuff, so
yeah.
I thought you might want to kind of move forward a little bit. I know Rocket's been really quiet. I don't know if I scared him or if he's just holding back, because I will say I'm very happy that everybody has a good sense of humor and stuff, because I've been picking on a few people lately. So
yeah. I see Spotty Draft said, how does this relate to EGC? Well, we're kind of in this, the old expression, a rising tide raises all boats. Let's the other way around too. We're tied to BNB. So everything that happens in the market, good or bad, will affect us. The whole reason why we're down isn't because we did anything at EGC, different or wrong. It's just we're along for the ride in some cases. Yeah, if we release a utility, we're going to get some positive news, hopefully some pump in price and all that stuff. But right now we're kind of along, we're in the current, right? And if that current's taking us towards the rapids, we're going to get beat up a little bit. And that's just kind of why I'm covering all this new stuff and the SEC, because, DeFi is like kind of in this realm where a lot of people don't want to touch it, right? Especially regulators. I think the European Union actually views, according to Micah, doesn't even apply to DeFi, which is great. Great for us, right? They're more into the centralized exchanges. And I honestly think that's where the regulation should stay, is in centralized exchanges, because they're in it for the big revenue, right? That's why they have the big stadiums and all that stuff. Where do you think they get their money from? It's from us, the users, right? So, but I get your point. We'll move on to EGC. The first
Before
thing,
you move on, Steve, let me say thank you to you for covering this,
yeah,
because what happens to crypto happens to EGC and to us. And in the United States especially, there is a lot of fear that the United States will follow in Red China's footsteps and actually outlaw crypto, which would be terrible for investors in this country.
yeah, and think of the China being so afraid of kind of the of cryptocurrency because of what it represents, right? They can't control that in the same way. They should just honestly get on board and then treat it like it's a currency, and like I said, work within the boundaries of it, and it could actually be a really, really good thing. There's a lot of people that have money who want to put into crypto. They want to experiment, or they want to try something new. There's always innovators in any space, right? But they're going to try and squash it, and they're going to lose. This is the way it is. You can't stop progress. You just can't. And decentralized finance, blockchain technology, it's so big. It has so much opportunities, like AI. There's so many opportunities within that space. You can't just keep it under bounds, lock it away. This is not going to happen. And if you don't do it, if you don't get on board, somebody else will, and we'll find our way around it. That's kind of usually what we always do, right? So the first thing I want to cover about EGC was what Sam had put out in a tweet. He said, let's see here. We are always, I think it was yesterday, we're always looking to generate revenue and pass to EGC holders. Our current roadmap will be generating revenue in the short term via Lucro games. We are building a small suite of fun and addicting games to generate demand and volume for Lucro. Every transaction also buys and burns EGC. LunaSky, we are close to launching the final version of LunaSky NFT. Every transaction will generate revenue. The profits which will return to holders either via buyback or rewards. Lucro is fully integrated into LunaSky, and when its creators enlist in Lucro, those transactions generate demand for Lucro and buyback and burn of EGC. Atlas Wallet is the decentralized crypto wallet with a number of unique features and functionalities. Users will be able to directly buy EGC and Lucro in the wallet. It's a big deal, along with a lot of other tokens. You can swap directly inside the wallet and also do cross-chain swaps. If you're not familiar with cross-chain, think of BTC to ETH. Typically, that's usually not an easy thing to do. This is all in the wallet. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right there. We will also have various on and off-ramp solutions and banking solutions, which will come in a post-launch update. I just want to add to that. Binance just said that they're stopping USD deposits and withdrawals. That's off-ramping. That's on-ramping. You can't get your money on and off. They're a crypto-only exchange. We're doing this, right? This is what they're developing, is on-ramp and off-ramp solutions. Every single feature in the Atlas wallet revenue that will return to holders via either rewards or buyback of EGC. Creative website. This is a little mystery utility we're working on, a fun place for a lot of crypto projects to get together and offer something for their communities. We aren't sharing info on this stage, but it should be live within about a month. He gave a timeline. That's usually unusual for him. Once the website is built up, we will incorporate advertising, which will generate revenue for buyback and burn and rewards. Custom API. During our work at Atlas, we identified a gap in the market. As you know, we want Atlas to be cheap as possible for all users to buy and sell and swap. There's a fundamental issue with the existing swap solutions that exist in all wallets, including Trust Wallet, MetaMask, etc., which hits the users in their pockets. We have found a solution for this, and rather than just build this solution for ourselves, we intend to license it out so EGC holders can benefit from a little revenue for any project that uses it. In the short term, this means Atlas Wallet will be the best value wallet on the market. In the long term, we might be able to generate revenue for many other wallets and applications. Hopefully, from all of this, holders can understand why this stuff takes time. We want to produce something truly valuable and unique and create a symbiotic ecosystem for the long term. It's a real big deal. All of these little things that are going on, it's just a tweet, right? How much can you read into it? There's a lot of meat and potatoes in that tweet. I read it a bunch of times and I'm thinking, there's some good stuff in there. And if you can't see it, just read it again. And you're like, wait a second, what are they working on here? We're not just a one-dimensional crypto project where we just got EGC with a buy-sell trade tax, right? This is bigger than that. Let's see.
Steve.
Yeah.
I read it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Now that you read it, out loud, like I got some details, like brand new for me. And I've read the thing like 5 times.
That's how meaningful it is, right? Because it's just a little tidbit of info, and you're like, well, what do you mean API? And what do you mean you're talking about like these custom, basically they found a kind of a way to, to basically make things cheaper for users and also maybe generate revenue for us. If these other products aren't doing this and we are, let's get it done. Like, let's get it out there and take advantage of that kind of hole in the marketplace.
Apparently it's got something to do with the way you read it. So I think you need to start putting out voice tweets and just reiterating what Sam says, just so we can get the clarity.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed, yeah.
So kind of regardless of what crypto you're invested in right now, all that really matters right now is that you've got the resources to survive. Tokens who survive the coming months will be the ones to capture the entire market when the inevitable recovery happens. Anyone who thinks this will kill crypto is totally deluded. In the long term, this will make crypto even stronger. I don't know of anyone who enjoys personally seeing their value of their portfolio drop by like 90%. Those people who want to sell and take those like enormous losses are most likely going to be just chasing the next meme coin, and the remainder of their portfolios are going to get wiped out anyway. So right now it's kind of, it wouldn't surprise me, just, me thinking out loud, because I remember back in January of last year, Paul was saying, well, he reported this after, like, that he was pushing Sam to really kind of, hey, let's turn on this marketing, let's get it going. And Sam was kind of like, wait a second, let's pump the brakes here, hold on. And he was absolutely right. He was bang on. He knew there was something going on in the market. He wanted to wait and see. And sure enough, he saved the holders a lot of pain and suffering. And sometimes you got to make those kind of decisions, and it wouldn't surprise me if we dial back a little bit and maybe say, okay, let's not spend so much money right now. Let's wait until we're, ready to go and then start advertising. Maybe we don't need to ramp up marketing immediately. Let's wait till we have products. This is just me thinking out loud. I haven't, I'm not privy to any conversations or anything like that. So, and and I do see people selling. I saw a 10,000 sale of Lucro yesterday, I think it was, or whatever. I'll never get on people for selling. Everybody has their reasons for selling. All I can say is if you sell because you're acting out of fear, you're probably going to be making the wrong decision in the long run. Some advice I kind of heard early on was never to invest anything I wasn't ready to lose like all of it. And that doesn't mean like throw money at some rando lotto dream. To me, it means like crypto is incredibly valuable, or volatile, even so now. So as we talked about in many spaces, this is early adoption. Worldwide, it's estimated that there's adoption for cryptos in the 4% range. If you're in it for the long game and your project can survive and keep building, the next bull market, in my opinion, will reward you for your patience and perseverance. If you can hold out and keep accumulating through the uncertainty, this is what a diamond hander is. I hate to say it, it doesn't come easy. But for me personally, I don't really stress about the price. I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's down, man. Like, it's a lot. I can now get 2.5 billion tokens for $100. I never would have dreamed that I could do that.
I do it the same way. I look at the price and I'm like, well, damn, it's down.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, I can buy more now.
Exactly. I wish I had like 10 grand to just load up. You know what I mean? And of course, a lot of people have been adding on the way down, right? They've been trying to dollar cost average and stuff like that, and and some people are staying out purposely. They're like, well, how low can I go? That's an unknown. We really don't know how low. I didn't anticipate this happening with the SEC. Of course, I knew they were going to crack down and all that stuff, but it seems personal to me. It really does. It doesn't seem to really follow any logic, especially if these companies like Binance, Coinbase, Robinhood are all saying, please help us. We want to be in compliance. That to me sounds pretty responsible for a business. They're in it to survive. They're in it to make money, not by fighting the SEC. They want to find a way around it, right? So it seems to me like, I don't know, it's like a personal vendetta, and I don't know why, but it is what it is. Maybe it is because they see crypto as such a big threat. But I hate to tell you, Gary, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, I don't know. Crypto winter. It almost seems like a crypto ice age. It's been 17 months, since this. It's the longest I think I've ever seen this kind of like downturn, right? So, but whatever. It takes as long as it takes. We'll just keep building, right? So, yeah, Sam has been pretty careful with management of funds. I think last I heard, I think they've got like 2+ years of reserves, if I remember correctly. So, and I know that's knowing Sam the way he is, if it looks like, they need to maybe, dial it in differently or maybe use the money differently just to build up more reserves. And I think he actually tweeted a response to somebody that they have mostly stablecoin in reserves, BUSD and USDT, if I'm not mistaken, which is great because, if you're invested in finance, if you got a bunch of BNB right now, you're hurting. You don't have as much. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, we talk every week about the EverGrow ecosystem because every single utility in development feeds EverGrow to fund operations, marketing, etc., and also buyback and burn of EGC, which benefits all the holders of EGC. So trading of EGC feeds strategic buyback and burn. I noticed that Sam said that in a couple of tweets. Strategic buyback and burn, not just our, $100 here, $1,000 there. It's strategic. So the first utility we will talk about is LunaSky because it appears that this is the one that seems to be closest to release. That was kind of coming from Cody and, kind of the general kind of theme, obviously others are coming up, but, they're pretty close together. So profits for transactions fees from the platform go to buyback and burn of EGC, in addition to Lucro token, which will be integrated, which benefits holders of EGC and Lucro. And it does a couple things. One, you're lowering your listing fees on the platform, therefore incentivizing Lucro. We know the 1% tax of Lucro is split between adding to liquidity on PancakeSwap, and it also goes to buyback and burn of EGC. Also, by using Lucro, potentially people would be buying in the upper market, which creates volume, and then the tax also applies, which also benefits EGC and Lucro holders. So those are two very good things about integrating Lucro into LunaSky. So, we talked about a lot of detail in the past spaces about LunaSky and the features, and I haven't seen all of them, and I know there's features in there that we don't know about that are publicly available. So
You already know that's why Rocket's not coming up.
exactly, yeah,
yeah, we are.
He's afraid. He's afraid of leaking stuff.
Fear is running deep in this one. I see it too. I think Rocket. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there. I think we all notice it. So you can go ahead and come up and spill the beans stuff because
you don't have to blame the kids. It's okay. Don't blame the kids.
Yeah, I do have one question though on the LunaSky, and I think I asked it before about are the OGs going to get the opportunity to like get some artwork up there before release or whatever? But I actually had I was going to go about it a different way. I'm working on a collection, and I'm hoping to start posting it next weekend. But I was wondering if LunaSky is not released the final version, I can upload those in the current version and those will be transferred over. And at that point I can list them for sale in Lucro, right? I'm just making sure that if I put them on now that I can still list it for sale in Lucro and I don't have to like tie it to Binance or anything else.
So I'm not really familiar with the kind of the whole minting process, but when you get them on the platform, you have to specifically list them in a particular BNB or Poly or whatever. Is there a step before that, so that before you actually sell it?
I know when I've listed them before, it's asked me what chain I want to list them on, and I would, normally say Binance. And then when it asks how much, Lucro's not available to select. So, right now, actually put it up for sale. Bitcoin or something, or I want, depending on what chain I'm on, that's what I want in return for the artwork. But I think, and I'm hoping that we can post it now to say it's on the Binance chain, but what we're going to list it under, it doesn't actually go in until you actually put it up for sale. And I was just wondering if Rocket would give me a hands up and confirm that, or if I should hold off on even uploading them.
That's a great question. I don't know, Rocket, if you have time to answer that question.
I don't know, but with the little that I know, okay, even selling on Lucro, the NFT will sit on on the chain, so it's going to be, I guess, BNB. Now regarding to mint the NFTs, obviously you're using the current contract, and I guess that will change with the new LunaSky. Obviously we need Rocket for 100% valid information. This is what I understand. Okay. So I would use the new contract. I believe there is going to be one, and I saw Rocket mentioning something about bulk. So I guess you can use that feature, to do it, faster. Because, Rocket is lazy and he likes doing stuff in bulk.
I'll agree with that. I will. I'm old-fashioned. I always upload them one at a time. It might take me hours to do it, but, I thought I was pretty accomplished to learn how to transfer my art from, using a pen and pencil and paintbrushes to actually using digital. So I feel accomplished there. I don't know if I could learn another technology right now to do a bulk upload. But I'm sure that Rocket will put something out that maybe on the website or something, or there'll be a training video on how to do bulk uploads, and I can run it that way. And even if Rocket can't speak to it right now, even if he's listening and maybe he can put a tweet out or something to just kind of confirm. So I'm just trying to get an idea of, whether I post them now and have them carry over, or whether I continue to hold off.
That's a great question, because some people might want to hold off on that collection until the LunaSky V2 is launched.
Yeah, because I do want to list them all for sale. I mean, I'm all about the Lucro right now. Anything that supports EverGrow.
Yeah, no kidding. I think I love Lucro, man. I just think it's
But
such a little gem.
with the um, with the tweet out and that Steve said before, like doing Lucro mini games and stuff like that. I guess you will earn somehow Lucro on those, and then you can obviously use them to buy NFTs and stuff like that. So somehow you're avoiding some fees, whatever. Like I know the fees are ridiculous and BNB chains like really cheap, but again, if you casually playing some games and earning some lucro for free, and then you want to buy any NFT that is on lucro, that's direct. There's no nothing in between. So
Yeah.
there is a link there as well.
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the fee for Lucro is 0.5, where for everything else it's higher.
It's 2%, and then 0.5 for Lucro, I believe. So it's a big incentive, I think.
Yeah, I think as well. So it's 3 of us, so that's it.
Yeah, that's great. I just want to give you guys, we are in the presence of EverGrow Man here. EverGrow Man, I love you, dude. You're awesome. Thank you for all the incredible work you do. That last video you put out was just amazing. Just everything you do, man, going around, sharing UGC with everybody, doing it on your own time, and the quality of your videos is just amazing. I just love it. So thank you so much for being here, man. You ever want to come up, you're more than welcome. But if you want to be a mystery and not talk, that's cool too. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do. Let's read the comments here. OXG says, why do you sound like the narrator? I'm not reading a book, dude. I'm not a narrator, but...
Because you are the narrator. You're the one. You're hosting it.
Yeah. I don't know, yeah. Let me give a random shout out here. Father McKay, I see you waving here, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope your project's going good. I saw a couple of videos there for Staked, and it looks a beautiful video. I think it was CP Doge was working on a website. It looks pretty nice. So yeah, Captain Futurist, Rick B. Who else has dropped into the space here? You see the Shy, William Blake. Good to see you. And I see Danny Johnson is here too. Who else? We got Rob and Michael Johnson. Good to see you. Haven't seen, crazy. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. And Nick Ward as well. Gracious, good to see you too. Hi, Savior. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for all the support you do online there for EverGrow. What else was I going to cover? Yeah, back to LunaSky. So, based on what I'm seeing is that, LunaSky was designed to be the preeminent NFT marketplace. It's important to keep in mind, though, that a lot of people just focus on LunaSky like it's some just about JPEGs, right? Selling NFT JPEGs. The opportunities for and on LunaSky far exceed the buying and selling of personal and commercial artwork. Hands down, you have to understand that. It isn't just about selling NFTs. Yes, that's what we do right now, but you've got to understand it's bigger than that. And it's being designed to be bigger than that. That's all I can say, because I've heard a little bit of stuff here and there, but I can't tell you anymore. Under threat of abduction by seals and heavy metal music by Cody Black. All right. You guys want to talk about Atlas Wallet a little bit? So I've been fortunate enough to be a beta tester for Atlas Wallet, and I've said it before, I really love it. It's great. My first time opening it, I was kind of like, wow, this is easy. The only time that I had any difficulty was trying to find my seed phrase. I was like, where is this thing? It's not in the settings. And it was a little different. And that's the only thing that I've ever seen that was like, oh, wow. Like everything else is pretty intuitive. You just know how to use it. Really, it's really easy. So my time using the app is pretty limited compared to other beta testers, just because I don't have the time to spend on it. I think we got like a dozen people or so that are working on it, and they are an incredibly hardworking team. I read the Discord channel that's dedicated to this between Paul and the other testers, and how they coordinate various testing of Atlas Wallet. You guys should know the amount of effort that's going into this is to building you one of the best and easiest to use DeFi wallets in the market, hands down. Just the stuff I'm saying there, they're working on a sheet that they put together like a Google sheet, and they kind of collaborate with each other, try different things. They're trying to find all the weaknesses that they can find in it to make you a great product. So yeah, they deserve a lot of things. I wish I could give more, but these guys, man, they're amazing. I think Zelda, man, he I can't remember what year Zelda was doing, but he got kudos from Paul for his hard work on something, and yeah, so thank you for
Well,
that.
I will tell you, you can tell us more. Rocket's on mute, so he can't hear you. Just saying.
The Rocket's on mute. What do you want to know?
Anything that hasn't been leaked already? No, I really don't.
Since I can't remember what's been leaked, I'm just going to no.
I will be honest. I actually don't want to know anything. I know a lot of people are like, hey, give me leaks. Hey, give me leaks. Hey, when's it coming out? I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just want it to drop.
Right.
That's it. I just want it to come out of the blue and just take everything over. Just people just totally unexpecting it, and then all of a sudden, bam, here it is. I would much rather, go that route, and all the leaks and stuff. I think the leaks give our competition, the opportunity to use the time to try to come up with a similar solution or something. And I think we just need to kind of hold off on the leaks and just drop it and put everybody in awe. Well, why didn't this other one think of that? Well, damn, I'm going to move over here,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Some of the things that I've sort of seen that, they're trying to come up with solutions for things, and it kind of shocks me that, like, these are $100 million companies, and they're not. It just seems to be like, are they lazy or something, just complacent? That's okay. We'll just keep innovating. We'll make a better product, and we'll be the first with it. So, but yeah, you guys should just be aware of that. The interface. I mean, you've seen a couple of videos of the interface, and it's very. I mean, how do you do it differently? It's very simple. I mean, it doesn't look like it's anything complicated, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, tweaking here and there, making things easier to read, easier to follow, logical steps. This happens, this happens, this happens. Yeah, there's a lot of work going into it.
Well, not only that, but I think it's got a lot to do with the behind the scenes part. Is not just, hey, how do you make it look pretty?
Mm-hmm.
It's how do you build this from the ground now for what we expect to happen in the future and already be able to incorporate it. Exactly. And I think that's what the team's doing. It whether it be music or ticket sales or whatever route they're going, real estate, I don't even know. But I think that they're taking that into consideration now and trying to build it in so it'll be easy to integrate it later.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And make it secure.
Yes, that's so important. So important. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you. I mean, it's it's kind of funny. When I did my first swap within the wallet, I was kind of like, that's it? Is that it? Like, I mean, I did it. Like, it was really painless. And I was like normally there's a process, connect your wallet to your swap of choice, whatever. Even on the EGC page, right? There's a process you got to go through, connect your wallet and all that stuff, make sure you're on the right blockchain, go through the process, approve the transaction. I mean, you just do it. You just do it within the wallet.
I'm just going to tell you now, when I first bought EGC, that was, the first crypto I ever bought, I was on Coinbase, and I bought Shiba, of course, because that's what everybody was doing, and I was new, and I didn't know anything. So, when I decided, when I first bought that, I started looking into crypto. I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to read about it. I wanted to understand it. And I ran across EverGrow. And EverGrow was just coming out. I mean, I bought into it like the first week. But I will tell you now, it took me like 16 hours to figure out how to buy EverGrow because I had to move money from where it was to another place, and then trade it for something completely different, and then I could finally buy EverGrow, and look at all the fees you lose along the way. Yep. I mean, if this makes it extremely easy to transfer it over from Ethereum to Bitcoin or vice versa, whatever, and you have the address of what you're wanting to buy, I mean, this is going to make it so easy, and so people aren't going to have to know, how do you jump through hoops to buy something. You're just going to know you can buy it.
Exactly. I mean, even just slippage. So we just take slippage for granted, right? So how easy is it now when somebody tells you what to do and how to do it? But when you start, you don't know these things. You don't, they're not told you, like when back in the day when, EGC was 14%, if you didn't adjust your slippage to above that threshold, the transaction would not happen. And here I am trying over and over and over.
I'm going to tell you now, when I first bought in, my I were trying to figure it out together, and my son and I were trying to figure it out together when we first bought in. And I asked him what slippage, and he said that's where you step on a banana peel, Dad.
Exactly. And there's not like a little infographic next to it that you click and it says, this is what slippage is.
No, all the sites out there, everything that told you how to do it, they never mention anything about slippage.
Right.
So you can go through the whole process, and if you don't know that one thing, your transaction could fail. And then if you're new to crypto and your transaction fails, your first thought is, oh crap, what have I done? Did I lose it? And all of a sudden you start building fear within yourself.
Right.
Once you get comfortable with crypto, or if it's easy, it's going to be it's going to be a no-brainer. I mean, I've transferred crypto before, and I've lost $1,000 that just is out there somewhere because I have no idea where the hell I put it. And I ended up having to go find the address. It took me 6 months to figure out what the heck I did.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
If this makes it easy, yeah, you'll pull a lot more people just through simplicity, because people love things that are easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Steve, can I ask you a question you may not be able to answer?
Sure.
But what I've learned from you and others, Rocket and everybody else talking about the wallet, is the word transparency. All the stuff that's going on behind the scenes won't be even visible anymore. So I'm curious if contracts and wallet addresses are going to disappear as well into the background.
So I did a swap, and it was a cross-chain swap between ETH and I can't remember what it was that I think it was BNB to ETH or something like that. In the transaction, I was able to share that from BSC Scan, and I was able to share that so that you can see exactly and trace the transaction. So it's there, you can find it. So it's very similar to, I wouldn't say very similar. It's similar to Trust Wallet in that you can see the transaction if you want to.
But do you need those wallet addresses, or especially the contract number? Or is that contract number going to be back in the background so you don't
Oh,
have
you
to
mean,
go
let's say
cleaning
if
it
you're
up?
going to buy X token, you want to look at the contract address? Is that what you mean?
Yes, do you have to even use the contract, or is that contract already built in to the listing within
So,
within the
from
wallet?
what I understand, I think like 300 token projects, I think, were going to be built in at the beginning, and they're going to add more along as they go. So, similar to kind of when you search a token and and if you can't find it, you have to manually add it. If it's already pre-populated in the list, you'll find it, but you can manually add it. As far as the address, like seeing the token address, that I don't know. Maybe Rocket can answer that when he's available, or Cody. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Well, you got to think too. They've also they did make the comment. I think it was on your last week's space, where they made the comment that said that they were going to try to vet as many of the projects and make sure that everything was legit.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, you can't do 100%. That's just
That was
vetting it. I mean, they've already verified the address. It is for a token and everything else.
So I think that was more for the promotional for Atlas Wallet. So if, let's say, they want to be promoted by Atlas Wallet, then they would get vetted to a certain degree, like ahead of time. But as far as just general, like, if you want to be on the swap or whatever, you want to be in Atlas Wallet. I don't remember if they said like you had to kind of, get checked out first. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. Let me make a note here.
I think you're right. I think it was for the promo, but since I'm on, I'm apparently doing promo, so we're gonna go that route.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna write that down just as a question, so don't forget. Okay, so let's see here. I had a question actually from Robert Glenn. He posted this earlier. He said this morning the incentive to buy would be, and there might be some typos in here, would be faster and easier to get in. I just think timing is off. I'm wondering if you could discuss that space today, and that he would be working. He was talking about, so I clarified with him, and what he was specifically asking is the lowering of the tax from 14% to 5%. And the timing was off in that. Why didn't the team wait before lowering the tax? And, I'd prefer Sam to actually answer that question of strategically why at this time did he choose to do that? Because I've heard them discuss that many times. I didn't expect it to drop when it did. I'm not really too sure why, but so I think a lot of us weren't expecting this move so soon. But for one was wondering about the timing, the strategic significance. In my opinion, was perfect. I'm not just a Sam fanboy. There are many factors that contribute to, within that decision. But I think because of just the whole tax token, we're not seeing a lot of volume in general with that 14%. And so when they did lower the tax, we did see a boost in volume, right? Obviously, because of everything that's going on in the market, buying has slowed down a lot. So the tax, in my opinion, was kind of a ball and chain that was kind of holding the project back. So when we saw a large amount of volume pour in after it was lowered, I think the lowering the tax is one part of the strategy. So keep in mind that we're the subject of overall market conditions. So should the team kind of stop the strategic plan? Is that, should they have done that? That's kind of a question for Sam or Paul to say, like, why then? Why at that time? Should we have waited for a better market opportunity when the market was thawing a little bit, this kind of crypto winter? Um, you know,
I will say I think that goes back to, if you think about it, they're trying to say, hey, why didn't you have a crystal ball and you could see that it was going to go this way?
mhm.
Okay, we did that because I was questioning that. I'm not afraid to post a question about anything. Usually it's DM or I will post it if I think that the general public, if it's for my understanding, I'm going to post it, or if it could be misconstrued as FUD, I'll post it to a DM. But I think, to my understanding, if you saw the markets at that time, we were actually moving away from the fear and going stronger into the greed section.
Absolutely.
And so it was a good time. You could not anticipate the things that have happened since that have dropped the price of overall tokens. I mean, you can't just look at what we did and compare it. You got to look at the overall market too. And I think if
Exactly.
you were looking at the overall market, the timing was right. It just didn't turn out in our favor. In the long run, it will, because the tax will be lower. People can get into it. We're still getting rewards out of it and everything else. But being 14% and people already having a fear to get in,
Yes.
and it being difficult, you got to make it easy. You got to lower the tax. You got to give them incentive. And I think we're moving everything in the right direction. It's just a matter of, when it naturally when, which is Rocket's favorite word. I know that. But it's just a matter of, as soon as Atlas Wallet releases, we'll see the impact. I mean, I honestly believe that once it releases, if we've tested as much as we say we're testing, and we've gone through everything, and it does work flawlessly, and it's just one of the best things out there since sliced bread, you're going to see an influx like you wouldn't believe.
Yes. I think, just for giggles, we've got a few people in the space here. If you agree that the timing of the tax was good, give a thumbs up. If you disagree, give a thumbs down. Just know, just for giggles. An alien, thumbs up. Any other thumbs up, thumbs down? There's no judgment. Just curious. We don't always see what's going on behind the scenes, and we don't always understand the decisions. So far, I've seen 4 thumbs up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to know, right? It's tough to know what the. I guess we don't have access to the entire behind the scenes stuff, so we're kind of making our decisions, kind of looking from a distance. So we have to kind of like, we sometimes they'll announce certain things. We're like, okay, well, what's the point of this? But if you look at the big picture, it all plays together. I think Sam and Paul and the rest of the team are pretty strategic on what they're doing. Even just leaks that we've seen, they're very purposeful about it. It isn't just a random, and let me take a screenshot and send it just to show off. There's a specific plan to this. So
you got to think too that, so for example, right now you have people that are questioning what they're doing right now. Okay, when I first got into the project, had a completely different roadmap. It had, I mean, we were very aggressive about everything and our plans. And when they first changed the roadmap, I was one of the first ones to say, "Hey, hold on a minute. This isn't." But if I had waited and been patient and seen what they're doing now, I would have never questioned the original change.
Exactly. I feel the same way. Yeah. Because I gave Sam a hard time about staking. Why? It wasn't really a hard time, but I was like, you changed your mind on it. Why? You said before you didn't like staking. Well, all of a sudden now you're saying you like staking. Obviously I said it a lot nicer than that, but it was his reasoning for staking because typically, on other projects, in order to gain rewards from staking, you're taking it from somewhere else. It's not like a free reward, right? Here, the way we did it in the project is we actually sold tokens in the open market and made a profit on it, and then those tokens are now being allocated to you, the staker, for EGC, and you're being rewarded. So it's a double benefit, and nobody's paying nobody. I'm not paying my tax in order to reward you. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. So I think if you don't see the big plan, you're kind of like, okay, asking these questions and why are you doing it this way, rather than just kind of having a little bit of faith. And he's led us this far so far. I'm not really too concerned, honestly. It was kind of funny. I was doing a little bit of research on kind of the overall, why are we where we are, right? And I think I hinted at this a little earlier about, the crypto conditions for the last 17 months, very bearish, obviously. And I looked at all the things that have happened, and this is not even all of them, just the ones that I've kind of quickly looked up and stuff. So we had FTX, right? We had Luna, which is now Luna Classic, and, Do Kwon and all that stuff. The SEC, the collapse of several exchanges, high-profile influencers flooding crypto, other high-profile profilers getting caught in pump and dumps. Let's use some of the names that have been involved in this: Kim Kardashian, Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, Soulja Boy, Austin Mahone. Let's see here, Nicole Mason, aka Kendra Lust. I never met her before. Miles Park McCollum, Lil Yachty. Let's see, Nayi. Who else we got? Akon, Larry David, Tom Brady, Giselle Brunson, apparently a Brazilian model and the 89th most powerful woman in the world, according to Forbes, worth around $400 million. Then there's Yuga Labs, the Bored Ape lawsuit, which involves Kevin Hart, Gwyneth Paltrow, Madonna, Justin Bieber, Serena Williams. Serena, really? Jimmy Fallon, Paris Hilton, Snoop Dogg, The Weeknd, Post Malone, and Curry. Many of these influencers promoted these crypto projects without disclosing their interest in the project, and a lot of them were pump and dumps. Why do you think we're here where we are right now?
And not only that, but you can't just look at crypto. Look what happened with the banking system. Look what happened with the markets. I mean, you've got to look at everything, because if there's fear everywhere,
Yes,
there's going to be more fear in an uncertain area or some place that people are new to, like crypto. So you got to look at the overall market. If crypto was solid and the overall market was going good, I honestly, just my opinion, but I honestly believe you'd have a lot more people in crypto than you do right now.
And all of these things that were happening in crypto that were like individually like scams. We're not even bringing up scams, right? The people are losing all these, losing their wallets to all these different scams. So, anytime you mention crypto to people who are uneducated, they get like, whoa, like, no, that's too risky for me. You have to represent crypto in the sense that it is a stable thing. It is, I don't want to say low risk, you know what I mean? Because that's not really part of it, but trusted. How do you bring trust back to the market? And this is something that it's a very difficult thing to really answer. I don't have an answer to that. Transparency is part of it, but adoption is another part of it. Obviously, like you were talking about earlier with Amazon, and if you have these big companies, actively involved in it, people are more likely to accept because, hey, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. They're involved in it, so that must be safe, right? Perception is everything. It really is. If you can demonstrate that trust and reliability, and my money's going to be safe, and I'm going to go to my wallet tomorrow, and it's still going to be there. Those are the big obstacles for crypto right now, and it's like I said, 4%. That's roughly the number. 4% of worldwide adoption. We're so early, and we've got so much to do. But you know what? There's a lot of bad apples out there, but there's also a lot of really good apples out there. And that's why I'm loyal to this project, because I believe in you guys. I believe in, the leadership. I believe in the business. I believe in the direction and the business plan. So it's easy for me. I don't have trouble sleeping at night because of this.
I can guarantee you I would not have the name I have on Twitter if I wasn't 100% behind this project.
Absolutely.
So,
100%.
when I first got on Twitter, it was because of this project, and I've never changed my name.
Yep. 100%.
Success will also restore people's trust.
Exactly.
And so we're going to see a lot of that. I have a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek suggestion for the next development out of EverGrow that I would like to see Sam and the devs create for all of the holders, and that is a real crystal ball. So we can all see the future, and then we will never have to discuss on Steve's Space the past and speculate on what happened and why. Can we pull this off?
I'm so sorry. I had a hard time really hearing you. Can you repeat that?
Okay. It's so not serious. And for EverGrow to develop a crystal ball so we can all see into the future, and then we will never have to second guess what happened like we're doing now. And we could be the successful people in crypto with or without EverGrow. Just my humor.
There you go.
I'll tell you now, I don't want the crystal ball. I enjoy speaking on EverGrow's Steve's Space because this is a place for us all to get together. If we didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to see my fam.
Exactly.
Good point. I hadn't thought about that. Thank you.
Spuddy Giraffe here, he said, LOL, you mention anything negative to Sam, he answers a question that was never asked, calls FUD, and blocks from all accounts related to the coin. What's that going to achieve? Fanboys only allowed. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I've seen Sam respond to a lot of difficult questions. How you ask the question?
I can tell you firsthand. I've asked Sam a specific question that was negative or could be construed as FUD, and he actually got clarity before he answered. And it depends on your history. It depends on what you've been posting. It depends on. There's a lot more that goes into that. Usually, you get blocked because of a repetitive action, not because you asked a question. But if you get blocked, they're going to use that one comment, and they're going to post it, and they're going to create FUD. I mean, to me, the whole purpose of somebody asking something like that is to create the FUD in the first place. If you have a legitimate question, send a DM to somebody on the team, post it, let everybody get the opportunity to read it, respond to it, and address your concerns. But don't sit there and claim FUD right off the bat just because. You got to look into why somebody got blocked. I don't think it's because of one comment. I just don't believe that.
Maybe, it could be I don't want to blame you for asking the question, and the way you ask it, but sometimes just simplifying the question, you made a couple points in there and, ask, like you said, questions that were never asked. And I'm not really too sure, you mean like he's changing the subject? It's just not, I'm not trying to just defend him, but I'm just saying, you ask a question, he's going to, to be honest, when somebody posts a question to me, I will go to their profile and I'll look at what have they been posting? What are they talking about? What mindset are you coming from? Are you coming at it to FUD me? Most of the time, 99.9%, I'm just going to ignore you because, I know where you're coming from already a mile away. But if you ask a legitimate question and you're curious, you're open, then I'm going to answer your question the best I can. Like we were talking about at the beginning, Discord, Telegram, they've got people, mods and admins that are answering these questions all the time, and they're there to help. We're not here to, to just be fanboys. None of us are like that. Yeah, I'm a big supporter, and there's a lot of other really big supporters, but that didn't come just one day I wasn't and one day I was. This is something that's kind of been engendered over a period of months and years. that I've watched from the behind. I've been, lurking around and watching the conversations and, and just kind of seeing what's going on behind the scenes. And then I get comfortable and like, okay, these people are legit. And they're not just, pump and dumpers. They're not just, yelling in the background going, pamp it. You know what I mean? It's just, you guys are legitimate people and good people, and you want to succeed the project to succeed, but you also want to be able to profit from it too.
And something else you got to think about when you use Twitter or Discord or anything else, it's the same as text message. If you've never had a text message been taken the wrong way,
Yeah,
I would be very surprised. And you got to think about the way you're wording things. You got to think about how you're coming across to stuff, because it's very easy in a typed statement to be taken the wrong way. You have to make sure it's clear.
exactly. I appreciate you asking the question. To even just post it in here and then say, we want to ask a question. I appreciate you doing that because, you could have just not said anything. So thank you for asking, and I hope that helps you a little bit. Come and join us in, like I said, Discord and Telegram, or I hang out on Discord personally. But, we're here to help. We're here to answer your questions. If there's something that doesn't make sense, hopefully, we can explain it to you a little bit better. And sometimes I can't. Sometimes we just don't know what the plan is. So yeah, hope that helps. Frank, how you doing? Been fishing? Frank NFTs.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, mate.
There you are.
My phone was playing up a bit. No fishing this week. Went and watched my footy team play yesterday, and they lost to the bottom of the ladder team, so I'm a bit distraught.
Oh, man. Sorry.
But it's all good. It's all good. Just going back to that question you were talking about, it kind of triggered a moment a few weeks ago. So why was Whammy banned from Telegram, which then forced him to go and sell his big bag? To be honest, he was asking, okay, Whammy can get on the source a bit, but he was asking legitimate questions about the delays, gets banned, and he went and sold his big bag because he said he's had enough.
Who was this?
Whammy on Telegram.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So he was asking questions, he didn't answer, and he didn't get the answer that he wanted?
He was getting answers, but ended up, people kept saying it's FUD. It wasn't FUD. He was asking Whammy's been a holder since pre-sale. And then he gets banned by Telegram because I'm telling you right now, there's some overzealous people on Telegram who are trigger happy. And he gets banned, and next you know, his big bag is gone and started a big sell-off. All because he got banned asking legitimate questions.
I wonder if, that's not good. So we've got to be really careful because, everybody has their own kind of comfort level with things. And if you're not going to answer a question, take the time. I understand it's got to be exhausting, answering the same questions over and over. Because, the first thing you want to do is there's all these resources available for you to do your own research and all that stuff. Why do you want me to spoon feed you, right?
Whammy wasn't a stupid bloke. He's a dentist. Okay, like I said, he does get on the drink a bit. But, legitimate questions. In my eyes, are legitimate questions. And I feel sorry for the admin on Telegram. They do get a lot of what you would say people with the IQ of a brick asking the same question. But Whammy wasn't one of those.
Do you happen to remember what one of the questions were, or a group of them?
Oh, it's about the delay of the products. He was saying, gotcha. I'm sick of hearing soon and soon. He goes, I'm over it. I want legitimate answers.
Yeah, it's a legitimate question, right?
So, because on Telegram, it's almost like they're taking the piss by saying, oh, soon and soon. And it's like, no, we've had enough of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's time to answer the question or just say, look, when we know, now they're starting to say, oh, when we know, we'll tell you.
Right.
So it's
going back to last year, I remember there was a specific kind of time frame given, and that didn't get met. And they, of course, they explained why, and it makes sense why it didn't happen then, right? And so It's tough to nail it down. Like even, Q1, Q2, those are big time ranges, right? So.
Look, it is what it is. He's gone now, but you can't have fanboys. You can't just have fanboys. People have to be able to question.
I agree.
I mean,
100%.
I'm not going on Twitter. Sam, 100%. You know, he's not like that. Sam will answer legitimate questions. But Telegram, my fear is there is a few too many admin on there that are too trigger happy.
I appreciate you saying that because I don't hang out there, so I'm not really familiar. But in Discord, it's you know, it's pretty tame. I think obviously there's some people that, you know, go a little crazy and they're gone pretty quick. But you can tell right away who's looking to stir up trouble and who's not.
I mean, look. I mean, last year I was banned. Actually, it'll almost be 12 months to the day. I was banned for questioning the delays and saying it's a dev issue. It's a dev issue. And, you know, I got canned for FUD. And at the end of the day, guess what? It was a dev issue. I'm in the industry. I can see the signs.
Yeah. I'm sorry you got
And
banned,
I got
man. I didn't know
banned. You know, I got banned on there. And, you know, I was lucky enough that one of the admins who I know personally, I said, have a look. I didn't say anything bad. And he went and had a look and he goes, you're right, mate. You didn't. You were just saying it's a dev issue.
Right. Was this on Telegram?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, man. You've been really active in the community, you know, and especially LunaSky and all that stuff, and you've been a big supporter. And, you know, I'm really sorry that happened because it doesn't make a guy feel good when you're just asking or, you know, making a statement, whatever like that. It's not fun. It's just a statement, you know.
Yeah. And it got to the point he was saying, I'll ban you. And I said, ban me. You know, look, ban me. What do you, seriously, you can't have fanboys. People have to be able to ask legitimate questions. And that's that.
I agree. And if you don't know the answer, then, you know, like what I do, I take a note, and next time I get a chance to mention it to, you know, one of the team, then I'll ask those questions and I'll bring it up in the next space if I can.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I do feel sorry for admin on Telegram too.
it's got to be hard.
You know, Lee and the team do a great job in the end of the day, but, you know, some of them need to be pulled in and say, hey, don't get trigger happy.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. Like, you know, I can't imagine the amount, because they take abuse too, you know what I mean? And
Oh, yeah.
and it's kind of a thankless job, you know? So yeah, but
It is. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it
yeah, exactly.
because I would have told people where to go many times.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people just roll in and said, hey, I've been away for a year. Like, you know, why is my investment down 90%?
Nah, that's someone that hasn't been around for a year. That's someone trying to FUD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, you can read those guys. You know, it's lucky those blokes aren't poker players because you can read them from across the room.
yep, exactly. Like I said, Frank, I'm really sorry that happened to you, man. You've been really, really supportive of everything, and you've asked tough questions. I don't mind. I really don't mind. You know, when you say, you know, hey, it's time to, you know, get it out there. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. Just sometimes it doesn't happen on my it doesn't happen on my timeline. That's for sure.
Speaking of tough questions, I reckon we should all counter-sue the SEC for all our losses.
You should all what? Sorry.
We should counter-sue SEC or, you know, Gesla for all our losses currently.
No kidding. That's you know, I wouldn't surprise me if the Binance or Coinbase or they actually countersued for, you know, because it does have an effect on their bottom line, right? They're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars.
And is there any truth in that he actually wanted a job with Binance back in 2019?
Is there any proof that he tried to get in?
Yeah, that he tried to get a job.
It is documented.
There you go.
So this is a personal vendetta then.
It could be construed that way. It really could.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if that's the case, then he should be abstaining from any action towards that company. That's typically what you do when there's a conflict of interest. You step away and you say, listen, I can't be involved with this company. You know what I mean? And especially in terms of regulatory, you know, environment. So that's just
and his good friendship with FTX CEO, what his name was, Sam Friedman Bankman, whatever his name was.
SBF, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
SBF, there's another conflict of interest.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, he should step down. If he's got any ounce of decorum in his body, he should step down.
It's going to come out, unfortunately, and then, you know, and I hate to say it, but it could cost him his job, you know, so, or he'll have to step away before he loses his job. So, yeah, man.
Because wasn't he, one more, wasn't he also involved with Ethereum heavily when he went after XRP, or was that before his time?
I'm not too sure. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. Was he involved? Yeah, that's a good question, though. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a couple interviews where he was actively talking about crypto, and he definitely seemed to have an opinion about what crypto was and wasn't, and whether it was a security or whether it was a commodity and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, that he's like, he has this what do you call it, memory loss, and now he can't answer the question anymore. You know, I mean,
That's
yeah,
like our esteemed premier here in Victoria.
yep, exactly. Yeah,
All right, that's the end of me, guys. Have a good day.
you too, man. Take care. Thanks for coming up. One thing I didn't cover a little bit. So let's just say you want to protect yourself during this kind of bearish market, right? One thing you can do, and I'm not telling you you need to do this, whatever like that, but something you could look forward to is staking. Staking, especially if it's EGC or Lucro, those things could help you ride out the storm a little bit, make a little bit on your investment, and you kind of, I don't want to say forget about it, but you can just kind of put it aside. So, in my opinion, probably one of the best things you could do in a down market and to keep your crypto safe is find a way to earn your rewards on it. So we've talked about Brew Labs before. They are right now where you can stake Lucro. The yield right now is about 10.5% APY, annual percentage yield. So if you, let's say, staked, 10 million, you're going to earn about 1.05 million for just staking it. So it's free, right? Basically free. And you might think, oh, what's a million? What's a million Lucro? It's not worth anything. The whole point is like down the road, right? You got to be long-term thinkers on this. If you we've seen Lucro move pretty quickly when there is a use case. When when a little bit of news came out about LunaSky and integration of Lucro, we saw a nice little volume right there, and it moved pretty quick. I think it was who was saying now that Lucro moves on air. We were absolutely 100%. Trail South said that, and so yeah, and again, free rewards, right? There was tokens set aside for that at the very beginning. So, and keep in mind too, you're not going to get 10% plus from a typical investment anywhere. Usually, if you want to get those kind of rewards, you've got to be investing 6 figures plus into something. So you might as well just earn on it. That's just my opinion. And here's the thing too: if you stake your Lucro and more people stake just like you, yes, you may earn slightly less rewards because all those tokens are being held and therefore they're split up between all the people. But it could help support the price in the short term. But if people decide to sell their tokens, right, unstake and go and sell, your share of the rewards are going to go up. So it's kind of a win-win, honestly. That's just my thinking, especially when we have utilities coming up. EverGrow Staking, that is something that's planned and been announced. So the only difference between EverGrow Staking is not in Brew Labs. It's actually going to be on the EverGrow website. It'll be built in. So the team haven't announced the launch date yet, so don't get scammed by anyone offering to stake your EGC for rewards. Follow the official EverGrow Twitter page, please. And keep up to date. You can listen to these spaces. I'm going to cover it just about every week. I've seen a bunch of junk on YouTube where offering you free EGC. Don't do it, man. Just don't do it. Just be careful. So, so I don't know what those rewards will look like, but I think they have 10 trillion or 12 trillion. I think it is set aside for staking, and there's probably the option to do more. It wouldn't surprise me. So get your piece of the pie. So yeah, that is kind of all I have for today, more or less. I'm curious. Let's do another show of thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's do Lucro first. How many of you guys actively stake Lucro, or even you just want to? Like if you have questions about staking at Brew Labs and all that stuff, just let me know. If you guys stake Lucro, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. I know I'm going to give a thumbs up because I do. Let's see, 1, 2. Let's see, 3. We got the clothed NFT girl versus NFT girl. Naked NFT girl, how you doing? Let's see, dedicated dad. I think I see you had a question up here earlier before. I keep getting kicked off, connection dropping. Anyone else? I don't think so. But I haven't been watching everybody. I see Popeye's in here. Who else?
I know you said clothed NFT girl. I would have to say I'm sorry. I didn't see her because she's got her clothes on. So.
Oh yeah. Cool, good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have questions about staking Lucro, if you're kind of a little sketchy about it, don't like really. I understand. Relabs is legit. They're a good company. They're a good website. Um, I've never had any issue. The only issue I ever had staking was I didn't know how to do it right. So when I was connecting my wallet, I was connecting with my Ethereum rather than my Binance. And believe it or not, Sam actually reached out and said, because I was having trouble, he said, do you need any help with this? And unreal. You know what I mean? I'm just a nobody. So
question about staking for those that may not know. If you stake and the time period you're staking for is 30 days or
correct.
so, let's just say, and your staking period comes up, does it stay there and it remain, or do you have to restake it, or does it automatically come out?
So it's a 1-year contract, so you can leave it in there for up to a year. The lockup period, which is basically a period of time where if you were to withdraw your reward or your kind of tokens, there's a tax on it. The first 30 days only. After those 30 days, you can withdraw them if you want, no penalty. I think the first 30 days, I think it's like 10% or something like that. So, obviously, if you want to stake and get the full rewards, you've got to stake for as long as possible. So I think the contract is about a third of the way right now. So I got in at the very beginning, like the first day or so. So though that again, those yields will change over time. I think when I got started, it was like 18%. Now it's like 10.5. So what will happen is when you stake them, right? They come out of your wallet, right? And so you don't see them there anymore. But there's a contract there, and you can go to Brew Labs and you can actually connect your wallet and you could see what you've staked and how much you've earned. And you can actually compound too. So you're earning those rewards, right? And then if you want to, let's say after a month, compound those rewards and add them to your principal, now you're earning interest on the principal and the interest of tokens that you've already earned. So you can do that as much as you want, and it'll give you a dollar value too. So like, I think I looked like last weekend, I had like $2 or something. Doesn't make sense to do it when you've only got $2, but I left it for like 60 days and I had, a fair amount. So I was like, okay, I'll compound that. And so after a year, then it unlocks and you get I think you have to go and claim your rewards if I'm not mistaken. Does anybody know if you have to go in there or will they just automatically come back into your wallet? Because I've never done it before, so I don't know what it looks like.
I don't know. That's one of the reasons I asked, because I was following you. I didn't get in on the first day. I needed a guinea pig. That's why I followed you in.
Yeah.
But I figure I'll have to do the same thing once it's over, or restake or whatever.
Yeah. And keep in mind too, I think they're toying around with the idea at the end of the year to bring Lucro over to the EverGrow website so that we could stake both EverGrow and Lucro on our website. So Dedicated Dad said, I missed the possibility of Gensler being fired or removed. Is this realistic? Well, it depends on how much pressure he gets. If there's a conflict of interest, and it can be shown and it gets in the news and that, hey, he was, potentially rebuffed by Binance for a job, and it looks like retaliation, and there's got to be the motivation, right? Right now, crypto is kind of like, kind of the stepchild. A lot of people don't really take crypto seriously, and so I don't know how much pressure there's going to be. We don't really have a lot of advocacy for crypto. There are special interests in crypto, just like any business. How vocal they are about it, I really don't know. I haven't really like got any emails or anything like that saying, "Hey, we're advocating for you, the crypto holder, or DeFi holder, or whatever like that." I really wish there was more like that, because there's definitely power in numbers. So, is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's likely? Maybe. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's really a tough one. I don't know. Good question. And again, just to cover EverGrow staking, that's not something that's going to happen right now. It looks like it's in development, and we don't know a timeline. I don't think it's that far off, though. And when I mean not that far off, I don't think it's going to be like 6 months or 3 months. I really don't know. Rocket's not talking, so maybe we can lure him in with fresh sardines.
But CWP's got that crystal ball. We could ask him.
There you go.
I wish.
So Father McKay actually said there is a lot of proof, in quotations, of combining funds with Binance US and money laundering charges versus CZ. This will trump any vendetta charges since it's not Gensler, it's DOJ. That's interesting. There's circumstantial evidence of laundering, CZ laundering money. That's interesting. Credible source. I'd love to see it. Not just like some remote website with conspiracy theories. If you can share that with me, by all means, I'd love to see it. Does anybody else know?
Or just a tweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't count tweets as being legitimate unless you can go to the source.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to staking. Honestly, I'm going to take my EverGrow, put it to work for me, and earn a little bit of interest on it at the same time. Let's see, let me give a shout out to Hawkish. Good to see you. Oh, thanks for dropping in today. Who else we got in here?
I'm talking about staking EverGrow. For those of us that are in it for the passive, it wouldn't make no sense not to stake it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You would still get the rewards, right? Because you're still in the contract.
Correct. All the buys and sells and everything else, all it does is lock it.
That's right. Exactly. You'll still see BUSD coming into your wallet. So the only difference though is your UGCs are locked up, so you're kind of earning kind of on two different fronts, kind of thing. And you probably even if the volume is lower, you're still going to earn probably substantially more rewards that way through staking than you would through volume. But again, it's a win-win because if the volume does go up, then you're going to get rewards that way. Potentially, people might unlock, and they because there's no penalty for unlocking, according to Sam. So they would potentially sell, and then your yield on your stake tokens would go up because less people are staking. So I love staking, man. The only time that staking didn't work for me is when I was staking SHIB on the Shibarium, and I got royally screwed. I lost money on that one. I staked for 7-8 months, and I was promised all these kind of rewards, and no, after gas and all that stuff, I was down. So the only difference is I got a little bit of bone out of it, and I was like, well, whatever, so won't do that again with them. So Dedicated Death says that was the big question. Do I still get the USD with EGC staking? Good to know. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for answering that, EverGrow Love. I appreciate it. That's something that just people may not think of initially. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up, talk about? I know a lot of people are holding off on NFTs right now just because they're waiting for V2 to launch. So I cannot wait to see what that's going to look like as far as new projects. Right now it seems pretty quiet on LunaSky. I'm seeing a lot of the same people uploading. BP Crypto 43 is a new one that I've seen come up. A new artist. Who else am I seeing here lately? Michael Garber's, obviously doing a lot here. What's this one? This one's pretty cool. Drakefist. Wow. LunaSky Test 2 ERC 20 JPEG. That's pretty cool, man. I like that. That is very, very cool. I like that one. And then what else we got? I really like that Anime Funk collection by BP43. And Tears in the Rain. That's a really good one from Michael Garber. I like that one a lot. I'm going to do that one today. I'm going to go post on Instagram for that one. Love that detail, man. You can see the pores in her skin, the water drops. That's looking amazing. Good job. This gets better and better. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we close for the day? I'm here for a bit, so I don't mind talking. You guys, anything you want to bring up? How about you, CWP? You going to change your name to CWP EverGrow, or? I was just joking, man. You don't have to change your name.
I have EverGrow there attached to it, though, Steve.
Do you? Let me have a look. Oh, I see that. When did you do that?
Months and months and months back.
I'm very, just powers of observation here are just fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, moving you down on the stalker list, that's for sure.
No kidding. Jeez. Oh, man. Crypto Prophet says it would be awesome if you could stake in a wallet. That would be pretty interesting. How would that work exactly? Because a wallet is kind of like a window to the blockchain, right? That's interesting. Interesting concept. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Any of you guys at all?
I have not, but I honestly believe that might be something that they're trying to secretly work on because
Interesting.
because they said innovations and they were talking about, there's spaces that not a single wallet has. You know, there's a lot of speculation there, a lot of things that we could go into, but I don't think staking in a wallet is actually too far off with the advancements we're making and the ability to do things.
Even as an NFT, technically, what if you could take an NFT, because it's a contract, part of the contract, right? What if you can incorporate something like that? That would be kind of interesting. So much possibility for NFTs. It's so early on in the NFT space. Last week we were talking about, what was it, ERC 65662 or something like that, where they were actually like embedding NFTs within NFTs and embedding crypto within an NFT, and it's pretty remarkable, like just the stuff, the potential.
Yeah, that goes down that line that Rocket was talking about with the ordinals and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, earning against your NFTs, I mean, that could be something that they're looking at for the EverGrow man, because instead of doing airdrops, you just compound, and make money basically like a passive income just because you hold an NFT. And like I said, you never know what direction these mines are going because, I'm like CWP. I'm old enough that I've seen it, but I don't know if I'm still old enough to dream it. So
Right, exactly. You ought to be able to. It's kind of like when crypto first appeared. I told the story before, but had a guy I was working with, and he was telling me, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna buy some Bitcoin, and I was pretty incredulous. Like, I was like, what do you think, I'm stupid? Like, why would I do that? And if I bought like 1,000 Bitcoin at that time, or even 100, I think they were pennies, like they were nothing, right? I'd be a multimillionaire. Just all I had to do was have a little bit of vision, damn it, and I didn't. I'll never make that mistake again. So, I think it was a good opportunity for me to learn and realize there's so much out there that I don't understand. And yeah, it's just, it's kind of crazy. The EverGrow man, and interestingly enough, the NFTs for that, because there's a limited amount, they have their own potential rarity in their own way because of all the different features, right? So now it's just a matter of convincing somebody else that they have a potential value, right? Other than outside of EverGrow people who hold them. So I think that can come in the future, especially with a successful project, where you're profit making, you're buyback and burning your token, you're reducing your supply, the price is going up. People are looking at the project and go, wow, like what's going on there? Oh, they have these EverGrow Man NFTs and there's only X number left. Or this person has one of three, or one of, or one of one, or whatever it is, that of these particular traits could be highly valuable. That $100 you spend on it, or, if you bought a package, it could seem pretty cheap. So I'm not sure if that would happen, but I'm pretty optimistic.
Yeah, I think it's going to go along the same way as everything else. If you look at it, you're buying into crypto, you're buying so many shares for a certain price. Same thing with NFTs. If they're rare and you're buying into an NFT like EverGrow Man, and there's only so many available, well, eventually, as the price and as we come out with innovations and we come out with projects, and all of a sudden our price is going up, they might become a highly sought after thing. So somebody that buys one and spends $100 on one, or somebody that buys 10 and has $1,000 into it, well, who's going to benefit? The person that's got 10 of them.
Exactly.
Even if the rarities aren't quite as rare as the one, you never know. And with the way the market is and everything, I mean, things could flip in a heartbeat on
really
just something as simple as an NFT.
Absolutely. And Dedicated Data also said, if the Fed halts raises or lowers interest rate in June, would that help the markets, yes or no? I think the Fed is riding that fine line of like controlling inflation without dumping the economy into a self-imposed recession. So, but you got to remember, they're always working, whatever decision they make today doesn't show up for right away, right? It could take months for it to actually really develop and manifest, right? Because that's why we look at the job numbers. How are they going? Is it, because if a company has, or I mean, if they raise interest rates and all of a sudden a company decides that they don't want to hire anymore, that doesn't just happen tomorrow. that's something that they're strategically planning for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to a year, right? So it's hard to know. But it's just really tough to know. I mean, I think it would be better for us, but it's really hard to know. I mean, like, the market is so fickle right now. Any little good news that you think would be good for us, and it doesn't respond, but then all of a sudden the market goes up 10% on seemingly kind of no particular reason. I don't want to get it. But, I'll take any good news right now. Boone was trying to connect here, and let me try and get him to be speaker again. I think he's having issues. Hopefully he doesn't have the Android bug. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think since the start of what do they call that? Quantitative easing. That has had a direct effect on all markets, more so crypto, I would think, than anything else. But EGC Mike says, I'm staking a coin right now, and the coins are in my wallet. That's interesting because whenever I stake, they immediately disappear from my wallet, and I have to go onto the platform and where I'm staking to find out what they're basically what they're doing and how much I've made. That's interesting. Moon, how you doing?
Hey guys, sorry I'm late today.
Don't worry about it, man. How you doing?
I'm all right, doing great.
Awesome. What's new with you?
Nothing much. Just freaking SCC, man.
I know.
Jeez, guys.
You over it yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. It's ridiculous. And you know what? The funny thing is, there's so many other projects that are obvious scams happened around for a long time. Have plenty of complaints from people who file complaints for the SEC. They don't go after those. That's what I hate about it. Is they have information, they have the details about so many other, especially many in DeFi as well, but they don't go after those. They try to go after the big dogs. A lot of times with nothing but circumstantial evidence, just because that writes headlines. They're not doing their job. I feel the SEC is not doing this job.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, I read a couple articles. One was from Robinhood. It was on CoinDesk, but it was about Robinhood and Binance, where they said the same story that they were working. Well, Robinhood was working with the SEC in order to go into regulatory compliance, and they worked for 16 months with them, and it basically got the door slammed in their face, saying, "Sorry, we're not working with you anymore." And then that was that, and they had to delist 4 different crypto in order to, avoid getting sued. So, and then
Robinhood?
Yeah, Robinhood and Binance, yeah. Where they were saying like they're trying to, but they're not getting any any help from the SEC at all. So it seems like they're acting more punitive than they are collaborative.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing right now. That's what they have been doing. They're not helping anyone. What they're doing is they're firing left and right.
Yeah.
And trying to see what sticks. And that's just not the way forward. That's not how you do regulation. That's not how you evolve the crypto world forward. And it's you got to work with people, not start firing left and right. Lawsuits. It's a mess. It's a mess. I mean, we're talking about an agency that can't even define what is securities and what isn't. From there, take it as you wish, because it's ridiculous.
Some people would say the argument, well, it's Congress that acts to, I think I was reading or listening to, can't remember what her name is now. She's pretty active in Twitter, talks a lot about crypto. She used to be an SEC attorney, if I'm not mistaken, and really, really intelligent. And she was like, listen, when we were in enforcement, our job was to enforce the rules, right? We didn't make the rules, we enforced them. And so it's up to Congress to make the rules, right? And I can understand. I agree with that. It makes sense to me, right? But is this a situation where you think the tail is wagging the dog, or do you really believe that Congress is not on the side of crypto and they are reaching out to the SEC saying, like, just take them down? What do you think?
I think the reality is much darker than what we realize, or not realize, but much darker than what we want to believe. I think there's a lot of corruption in Congress. I think a lot of it are or much of the Congress is waiting for payouts in order to make laws that benefit crypto, but they want to be paid first. And until that happens, they will be against crypto, which just comes to show the weaknesses is democracy as we know it, which allows stuff like that to happen. But secondly, Gary Gensler, right, the head of the SEC, I guess Congress is the one that makes laws, not him. And yet, from the very beginning, he's defended Bitcoin as a fully decentralized system and not a security. He said that himself,
Right.
The head of the SEC, many, many times. Makes me wonder how much Bitcoin he holds. So that's the first thing. The second thing, whatever the SEC does going forward, they either do things in a way that helps the consumer, or they do things in a way that goes against the consumer and crypto adoption. At this moment in time, it feels like they're doing everything in their power to prevent that adoption,
Right,
and proper regulation. And ultimately, I see that as going against the consumer that they are supposed to protect.
it's I don't have a problem with regulation as long as it makes sense, right? That's, I'm sure everybody says that. If you want there to be transparency, like for instance, let's say with some platforms where you can actually stake on the platform, right, and earn yields, and and I know crypto.com was promising like 14% yields and all that stuff, and you get their credit card and you get even more and all that stuff. I don't have a problem with that as long as it's in black and white and I know what I'm getting myself into. Don't have a problem with that. What it is this kind of lack of uniform application of standards. So one company.
Precisely. Yeah. You are 100% correct when you say that. It's the lack of a fair trial for everybody, a fair playing ground for everybody. Right. Because Gary Gensler of the FTC, they go after and sued XRP and Binance. Okay, well, here's a funny thing. The SEC never sued FTX, the biggest disaster in crypto ever. To this day, they never sued them.
Do you think it's possible that there's a pending lawsuit that just like basically, I mean, I don't know how much more information you need. It's a done deal, right? I mean, if they could have raided the place, the FBI got in, got all the documents and announced a pending investigation. But do you think that's possible? Like,
it's possible.
Yeah, it's
possible. But even if it's a done deal, I still don't see the reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah. How long has it been now since FTX collapsed? Has it been in about 8 months?
It's like 9 months, 8 months.
9 months, yeah. You would think there would be sufficient time to really kind of put together some sort of legal argument, whatever. Go ahead, EverGrow.
No, I was just going to say, I know we're talking about the SEC and everything. I'm still going to go back to my original statement that I believe that the government and the people that are doing this are the biggest market manipulators out there. And the proof of that will be if all of a sudden crypto is crashing and then something comes out in the major headline news that turns it around, and now all of a sudden it skyrockets. That to me is a key indicator that you got some very powerful people behind it.
Oh, he's talking about insider trading, right?
Yeah, just market manipulation. I honestly believe that your politicians and a big portion of your government are inside traders and definitely influence the markets at specific times.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
So let's just say, in a month's time, a news article comes out. We have reached a deal with Binance and everything is right in the world. And we see a massive pump of all crypto. I mean, it's like, if this happens, dude, I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna say, you guys nailed it, man, because it makes sense that it could. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's possible. We're all just being played for suckers,
I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but if you look at all the politicians that have touted some type of crypto or another that they actually own personally, and to allow somebody to go after crypto knowing that it's going to hurt their own investment, I mean, I'm just kind of leery. That just kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth right off the beginning. And then all of a sudden you come out with this thing with the SEC And it's right after, right afterwards, we find out that he actually applied to work for them. That's another red flag.
Yeah.
And then if all of a sudden, the final thing to me is going to be, okay, if it's 1 month or 3 months down the road, how far down do they need to drive it? What needs to happen? And at one point, do they need to flip the switch?
Right.
And that, not a big conspiracy theorist, but when it comes to something like this, when it comes to politicians making money, oh yeah, I believe there's a lot that goes on that stays out of the public eye.
I want to comment on the conspiracy theorist label because it really disturbs me. To call somebody a conspiracy theorist is the way that you can dismiss anything they have to say.
You're absolutely right.
Without even considering it. Conspiracies where two people or more join to plan something that is illegal or cover up something that was illegal. Reality tells us that our government, individuals within our government, have millions of conspiracies going on every day. In the private industry, there are too, also millions every day. We don't learn about them. I mean, even in your own neighborhood, there's somebody right now conspiring with somebody else to commit a crime. So I don't find saying I'm not a conspiracy theorist as relevant when it seems to be, at least superficially at this point, or maybe not, maybe better than superficially, that this really is a conspiracy.
I guess when I think of conspiracy theorists, I think of somebody or who takes. Unfortunately, it's kind of sensationalized in the news, right? So it kind of you're absolutely right. It dismisses their particular belief. But I hear somebody say one thing, and then all of a sudden they're connecting. They're connecting. What do you call it? Fluoride and tap water with the assassination of JFK. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's just so like, where on earth are you talking? What are you even talking about? But there are.
It depends on, like CWP was saying, there's conspiracy theories and conspiracy theories. In other words, there's actual conspiracy and then there's reality. But today, like you said, conspiracy theory idea is used as a blanket term to wash everything away.
Right.
And he's completely right, because conspiracy theories used to be, people thinking the earth is flat. Okay, that's a conspiracy theory. But today you have the same people saying conspiracy theories about lawmakers doing insider trading. That's not a conspiracy theory. You can go and you can watch, you can go on Google and can research their trades. They're public. Since 2012, there was some Insider Act that was passed. So they're forced to publicly disclose their trades. And you can see that up to 80% of lawmakers have done insider trading.
Right.
They literally buy stocks and sell stocks just before huge decisions are done in the government, and either dump or buy just before that becomes public information. There's so many of them, it's not even fun. And you can see it's provable. So it's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about legislation to prevent that sort of thing, but it hasn't transpired because the people who typically could benefit from it, why would they pass a law that would hurt them, right? So unfortunately, it's
Right.
kind of, it's, and I'm not saying that just to be like talking politics here, and I know some people don't really care for that, but we're just being, just be reasonable. Like, we know these things are happening, and it's not good, for, the people that represent us to be doing things that we couldn't do, or potentially be penalized for it, or go to jail for, right? Insider trading. So go ahead, EverGrow.
Yeah, I was going to say, so on that aspect of, there's a law that's been passed that they have to post all their trades and stuff. That just puts even more real factual life into what we're talking about, because yes, they have to post. That law is based on the stock markets. That law is not based on crypto.
The big one.
So to my knowledge, they don't have to disclose what crypto they're trading. And that just means that they've moved their ability to do it from the market to a place where it can't be, traced, and where they can do it and they don't have to report it. That just puts even more,
So imagine how much of it they do. Imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
And even with what is reported and what is known, although there's certainly not been a court report on this as an inquest on a case, what we've been learned about Clarence Thomas accepting basically bribes, the evidence, although not admissible, not admitted in court yet, is in my opinion overwhelmingly demonstrative that he has done illegal acts while a Supreme Court justice. And just because you're at the top of the heap doesn't mean that you're not doing criminal acts. Did everybody notice recently on his birthday that Kissinger was just outed for doing a whole lot of illegal acts while he was involved in our government? This is, and I'm not trashing these people on a basis of political beliefs. Our politicians are above the law. And this has come about in just the last, I'm going to say maybe 40 years or so. They are answerable. And in my opinion, the fault is ours because
Absolutely.
we are keep voting in these people. We keep allowing things like Citizens United to exist so that you can buy your politicians. And that's not going to change until we, the people, restore our country.
And just to be clear, because I think with the Supreme Court, I don't think there was really anything adopted in terms of a code of conduct, to my knowledge, that would disallow anything of what they're doing. I know there was mandatory reporting for his taxes that he was supposed to claim, in terms of gifts and all that stuff, and that wasn't done. But I don't think there's
that's criminal.
Yes, absolutely. So, it's funny in the industry of insurance, right? There's this little known thing that's called, I think it's called a prudent person clause, and they would basically go after people who would basically they would get in accidents and stuff like that, and would a prudent person seek medical attention for a particular particular injury or something like that, and basically use your common sense, right? And any one of us in here could probably say it would be very prudent for you, being a Supreme Court justice, to disclose that you're flying on somebody's corporate jet, you're getting trips and all that stuff. Nobody, we don't care who you hang around with. You want to hang around with whatever you want. But when you're being wined and dined, there's this kind of perception that what are they getting out of it? You know what I mean? There has to be that kind of especially when you're in such a possession.
You there, Steve?
Give me 1 second here.
But I'll throw
there we go.
Sam Bankman-Fried out, having din with Gensler.
Hey, Steve, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah. You there now? Perfect. Can you hear me?
Well, he's on mute now, so.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there you're back.
Yeah. So the whole concept of, kind of a quid pro quo, right? Supreme Court justice is in a position of enormous influence, not just because of the decision making that they have, but the influence that they can have with their people also on the court, right? I would like to think that they were independently minded and that they would make their own decisions, but conservatives tend to stick with conservatives. Liberals tend to stick with liberals, and you can see that decision after decision, unless it's split. I've seen liberals go with conservatives, and I've also seen conservatives go with liberals, depending on what the case is, and I like that. I like that you're not held to those ideals, and you can make a decision outside of party lines. I think that's really important. But I think,
and that's true, Steve. But this conversation really highlights the problems of our society. and even politics as we know them today. What you just said is true, but the problem here, what is the problem here? The problem is, regardless if you're left or right, or you switch in between, the problem is that none of that matters. The problem is that between a citizen's vote and a decision being reached, there's middlemen. Those middlemen are the politicians. If at any point, any of those politicians, left, right, central, up, down, it doesn't matter. If at any point, any of those politicians get lobbied or paid to do a decision that will be either good or bad for you, they don't care. They're getting paid. They will always look out for themselves first before the population, the very population they're supposed to serve. It's the same exact concept as insurance, right? That's how an insurance, any type of insurance, makes money. Health insurance, car insurance, it doesn't matter. Their idea is to charge the customer as much money as possible while getting the best deal possible from the actual provider of the service. So the lowest cost possible. So it's middleman. That's what politicians are. Nobody wins but them. So the customer or the citizen gets the worst deal possible, and the service provider gets the worst deal possible. Only they win. And I think that's where the problem lies. The decisions aren't made from actual citizens directly. There's always a middleman that come and do decisions or represent them for them. And that's where all of these problems come in.
I can agree with that about the middleman and everything. And if you think about it, you really want to put it in simple terms for everybody. If you're wine and dining me and treating me like I'm gold, and then all of a sudden you drive through McDonald's and spill hot coffee in your lap, right? And you decide to sue McDonald's. Well, if I have influence over the people that are going to make that verdict, then it's pretty much a no-brainer. You're going to win. And that's the same thing that's going on right now. But when you win, you don't get a big chunk of that. All of a sudden, the people that approved it are going to get a big chunk of that because that's the fees, and the fees are going somewhere. And if you win $1 million and you're pulling out 500,000 of that, and the rest is in attorney fees and everything else, guess where that 500,000 is going? It's not going straight into the attorney's pocket. It's going into the pocket to wine and dine the people who just gave you the win.
And all of this circles back around to Gary Gensler and the SEC.
It's interesting with it's tough because, I think of the rule of law and, not all rules or not all laws are perfect, right? I look at certain documents within U.S. government that I think, like the Bill of Rights and, the Constitution and, and for whatever argument you can say for these things and how imperfect they are, they were construed in such a way and that they had the betterment of society at heart at the time, right? They were trying to, again, form a more perfect union. All of these things, the phraseology and the words that they used at the time were so in the mind of the greater good that I think people have forgotten that, they come in and to represent the people, but it's such a solemn thing in my opinion, that how could you not take that so seriously and to work for the betterment of people? Like, I just think of, and I hope people don't mind me talking politics and stuff like that, because I don't want to offend anybody, but redistricting, right? Like, I think it just went to the Supreme Court of, was it Alabama now? Where the redistricting was thrown out because it went against a minority group. And because they were specifically drawing the line in a specific way in order to exclude the people within that area. And like, the conscience to do that. But it's this kind of this power thing, right? I guess they're trying to take as much power as possible and have as much influence as possible, and it's kind of abhorrent to the whole, to the whole foundation of what this country stands for. And maybe I'm just kind of too disillusioned, and that, I'm one of those optimists, you know what I mean? And I just got to get with the program, but I just can't. I believe in the goodness of people, you know what I mean? So.
But money talks, Steve.
It does. You're right. Money and influence does speak, right?
And it's ultimately the ability to, with that money that talks, be able to influence somebody that will make a decision for you. and that's where the problem ultimately stems from. It's ultimately a failure of the system that governs us, and not just the United States. This goes for every democracy in the world. It's clearly reached the limit of what it can do for its own citizens. We need a new system that washes away politicians, gets away with the middlemen, that brings the vote back to the people directly from the people, not a guy that represents you, directly your vote. And by doing that, you get rid of lobbying and you get rid of politicians. So all of that, all of a sudden, is solved. So obviously, this system has reached its limit. It worked well. It's been the best system we've ever had, but it can no longer provide as it once did.
And I can agree with that too, because if you look at it, I've had a lot of people, I'll go out and I'll vote and stuff, but I never vote for the presidency. And I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you vote for the presidency? And I just tell them, because the people no longer elect the president. Electoral College elects the president. And if you vote and you don't go that way, well, they can vote however they want. And so that is the one election that I believe that the people have absolutely no control over, and that's why I don't do it.
It's when I first came here from. That's funny. EGC Mike said, "Let's spoken like a true Canadian." When I first moved from Canada to the U.S., it's a different system. You know what I mean? It's a different, and in Canada's a popular vote. Just like, it's 1 for 1, right? And for me to come to this electoral system was very different, and it didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, because you could technically lose the election even if you won the popular vote. And I've really never understood that. I understand the spirit of it. I really do.
That's actually happened. I mean, that's what made me stop voting, because when they counted the votes, the votes of the people elected one president. And I believe this was during Clinton's time. I don't even remember anymore. But the votes of the people went one way, and the Electoral College went the other.
An absolute joke. Absolute joke.
So, for those of you who are more familiar with American history, what was the thinking behind the Electoral College versus just going with a popular vote? Was it better then?
One of the worst reasons was the lack of education among the electorate. Some of our founding fathers didn't trust us to elect the president, didn't think we were educated enough, intelligent enough. The other reason was because of distance involved and trying to get, if you think about travel times, now we can record votes immediately. There it was days, weeks, maybe even months. And there could have been times when we were without a leader in the country. And that's the other reason that they did that.
And it made sense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
It's archaic now. It made sense back then. I mean, if we think 200, 300 years ago, there was no internet. There was no telephone. There was no telegraph. People were vastly much more uneducated than they are today. When it came times for an election, how many citizens back then had actually even seen the president they were going to vote for? You know what I mean? So at the time, it made sense. 300 years later, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beyond archaic.
I will say, Moon, when you said back then there was no TV, no phones or anything, I don't know why, but CWP and myself, I just felt like you were poking fun at us.
Maybe well-deserved fun.
That's funny. EGC Mike said the last two elections in Canada were won by the Liberal Party by seats. The Conservatives won the popular vote both times. That's interesting. That's very interesting. But one thing I did appreciate about the Canadian political system was if they felt you weren't representing, they could do a vote of no confidence and you're out. It doesn't necessarily, you could be 6 months, you could be a year, it could be 4 years. You could theoretically run over and over and over and, and be a prime minister for, longer than the terms, the multiple terms, right? But I appreciate.
Well, I'm pretty sure that can happen here as well, I think.
Can you do it Well,
If I'm not
how would you remove
president,
how would you
if I'm not
remove a sitting president?
if I'm not mistaken, the president is the only position that has term limits left in our system, and the only way to remove that president is to basically, I can't even think of the word now. I thought of it.
Impeachment.
Yep, impeachment. I thought of it 100 times over the last couple of years, but for some reason I couldn't think of it. But yeah, impeachment's the only way. And guess who? And guess who decides that? It's not the people.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to throw one other question out into this to maybe get some opinions on. Why, as far as I know, the statistics I've read over the years, the United States has the lowest voter turnout of any country in the world, drastically lower. I mean, more than just statistically significant. And
That's
why is that? Even in communist countries where there's only one person to vote for, they will show up and vote for that one person. But
that's
Americans
very
are too apathetic, apparently.
that's very easy. CWP. That goes back to the same thing as to why I said I quit voting. When your vote no longer matters, people don't want to go vote, and a lot of people are starting to realize that their vote doesn't matter when it comes for like presidency and stuff. I go out and vote for my locals because
Yeah,
I
a vote
feel I
and
can
local
directly
of one
impact
vote
that.
does matter big time.
Yeah, but when it comes to something like the president, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I could be working or spending time with my family. I'm not going to go waste my time if I know it doesn't count.
Right.
This isn't a new thing in our country, though. This low voter turnout goes way, way, way back, even before us old guys.
And I think
I
part
didn't
of it
know it
too
was.
is we're spread out in the U.S. We're spread out. Like, I mean, obviously, if you live in a big city, I have access to probably 3 polling locations here where I am, not very far away. Whereas in some areas of the country, it's much more rural and it's harder to vote. And in some states, they're making it more difficult for absentee voting. So a lot of people that's their only option. They might be not able to get out. I mean, for God's sake, we should have internet voting right now. I don't see why that could not happen. Then again, a lot of people don't have access to internet, which is kind of unfortunate.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, if you live in one of those rural areas where you have limited access to anything, make a room available because I'm coming, okay?
There you go. Yeah, that's funny.
I didn't know though that what people were saying. I knew the voter turnout was low. I never knew it was the lowest in the world. That I never knew.
Yeah, that's kind of news to me too. That was really
I don't
interesting.
have the statistics in front of me, but I'll sure go look them up. I am quite certain, not 100% certain, but that for many, many, many years, um, I'm going to go out on a limb and say for 100, we have been the lowest in the world.
I see a new tweet coming out.
There you go. Exactly. Guys, I hate to do this, but I got to run it a little bit. I was going to ask you guys something, and I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, I'll have to come up in the next space. But I want to thank you guys for being here today. Sorry I have to cut it short a little bit. It's short. It's been 2.5 hours. I love that we can be in here for 2.5 hours and can still chat and stuff like that and be respectful of each other, talk EGC, and still talk politics and agree to disagree sometimes. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Moon, thanks for being here. EverGrow Love, thanks for being a speaker today. CWP, Rocket, thanks for just being here and hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, you're not tied up and immobile and unable to communicate by blinking. But I hope you have a good day. Michael Garber, EverGrow Love. Who else we got? EGC Mike, Will Gratians, EGC Rubicon. Good to see you too. Big B. And I'll have to hear the story one day about the Big B 198251. I'd like to know the story behind that. Wilco House, Dedicated Death. Thanks for all the comments and the questions. I appreciate it. And the Shy William Blake, Gordovic, and Taxi Man. Brian, Safely to the Moon. Fox Lima Bravo. Rob. Who else we got? Popeye. G-00. I like that PFP. That's very cool. And Morgan, and lastly, Miko. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. and we'll talk to you next weekend. I was going to talk about the EverGrow store a little bit. That's what it was. So I still got to get up the statements for the bank statements. So we're going to be coming up on 2 months pretty soon. And as of the third month, if we don't reach 1,000 in terms of sales, we're going to do a giveaway for either buyback and burn or promotional giveaway of EGC. So keep that in mind. It's coming up really soon. So that's what I was going to tell you guys. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Let's do this again next weekend. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve, for hosting this.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So much, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend. Take care for now.